Freeman around third. Throw to the plate is not in time. Freddie scores standing up.
Down to 3-1. A swing and a drive. High, deep to left center. Away, back and gone. And it's 3-0 Cleveland.
2 on, 2 out, the pitch.
Swung on, belted, deep right field. Get out of here, Ozzie. Home run. Ball game. You asked for the dagger, Ben. You got the dagger.
Bennett off the near side, looks across Verhage, high slug shot. He scores! Connor Verhage, the overtime winner here in Game 3. The Panthers take it 3-2 the final.
Hanging around. Connor Verhage flops a nut straight. Pay that man his money. Overtime winner for Connor Verhage.
You know, anytime you have a 16-team league and you play 9 conference games, there's going to be variations. There's going to be, nuance to the scheduling. And, the real key to a scheduling philosophy and concept is it has to be consistent over time. You can't look at a schedule in the vacuum or silo of 1 year. When you're not playing everybody in a true round robin, ultimately what ends up happening is you have to go through several years to have things kind of even out.
Yeah, what he said.
Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, you hear? Flopped the nut straight, and what do you think of?
I don't know. He wants to pay the man his money. John Malkovich, maybe?
In rounders. All I hear is check.
He said, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to come along.
You going to pop? You going to pop an Oreo?
I think I'll come along with this one.
Put it up to your ear, pop it open.
I didn't.
Okay?
I didn't. Shane, what was that, about 4 years? I didn't watch that movie until about 4 years ago.
See, I didn't watch it until
maybe it was COVID. So 3.
Mine would have been about 2 years ago.
Everybody would drop these lines, especially Vrzal. Like he would always do the pay the man his money.
Pay
thing.
the man his money.
Like, what are you guys talking about? So I finally went back and watched it,
and you didn't want to feel left out anymore.
Nah, it was okay. I wasn't like, ooh, great movie. I mean, for a card playing movie, it's pretty good. But I don't understand why people think just because you play poker, like you have to go into debt. Like it's not. It's like the It's like the safe.
Well, that's just a good storyline,
like
right?
Safest form. Yeah, it's like it's very low risk, and you come to the table with your money. Like you may get stacked, but it's not like you're on. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, the number of people that are actually in debt in reality doesn't meet what movies make it out to me.
I don't get the portrayal, but I mean it's whatever. Right? The movie was fine. I'm a big Malkovich guy, and I'm just okay on Damon. So those worlds kind of collide. I mean, he's had some good stuff, right?
Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic in Con Air. It's like the best.
Fresh Prince?
The best.
Oh, that's Bon Air.
The best bad movie ever. Nah, that's Joe Dirt. It's a lot of good bad movies.
I had in the background last night after. I felt like you a little bit. Because when like you can't go to sleep
taking an online test till 12:40 in the morning.
Not that,
God.
But putting on a random movie like just in the background while because you can't fall asleep yet. So I'm like downstairs. Panthers just have won an OT. I watched Jordy Ball close it out for a third straight for Oklahoma, and I'm like, SportsCenter's not on yet. Normally I like to just wind down with SportsCenter and go to sleep. But it wasn't on yet. Mm-hmm. It was like 10 o'clock at this point.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, huh. So I pull up Hulu, click over to Equalizer 2, and I just put it on in the background.
Dude.
And, kept doing some extra prep. And then I found myself not doing prep at all. Because when I turn on that movie, I just got encapsulated in the moment of.
What part grabbed you?
When he goes up to the hotel room. And he tells him, hey, I'm the Lyft driver.
Oh, and he was mad. He's like, you don't even know her name, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
Name is Anna. What hand are you? He's like, oh. He's like,
hey,
what?
don't cry. Don't cry now.
I've never seen one of these cards. I've heard about them.
Right.
It's like, yeah, give yourself a nice tip, like run along.
Well, thanks. That's
Hey,
really nice of you.
How about how your boy locked the apartment or the suite door like he was really going to do something?
yeah. There's 6 of them.
You locked yourself in with that guy? Yeah.
They didn't know. They thought he was just an old Lyft driver.
Yeah, but if you don't know, he does look unassuming, right? Kind of frumpy, weird haircut.
Yeah, and he's just kind of in there. But when he starts his watch, yeah, you better run.
Yeah. And that one, he actually made the time.
Yeah, normally he's overtime.
Yeah.
And then he tries to subtract seconds, and I don't really know what gives him the right to subtract.
Tactically, where I think he's going through his mind where he went wrong.
He's like, 28 seconds. Minus 9:19. Oh, that was still 3 seconds over. I'm like, how'd you get minus 9?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, that's.
Did you like spend too much time like talking to the person so that you subtract the time from that? Or
you just knew Dave was going to get it?
Yeah.
Dave was going to have to get it.
And I only made it halfway through the movie before I'm like, okay, now I can go to sleep.
Come on, man.
I know I didn't want to finish it.
Fudge. I told you the story off air, but. It was a day in which I was overly consumed with. I felt like I was working against the clock. Right, so from 2 to 12:40, I don't know what that is. I hear the humming.
Yeah.
So from 2 to 12. Wow, I just totally lost you.
Well, I know. Well, I used to be able to hear you in my right ear. Now I can only hear you because we're in the room together.
So then
there it is.
Consumed, and we had a Zoom meeting and had to send some information over, and I'm just like, and how you're taking a test and you're at the mercy of the test. And so sometimes it's like 71 pages or 66 pages, and I'm like, are we being serious here? But
I hope the font is 400 and that takes up half the page.
Well, everything I was doing, I was carrying my computer around. Putting some dishes away at the computer, stuff out of the laundry. I'm just like, yeah, not a great day yesterday, but and the sports was meh.
It was meh.
Although I did like
softball was fun.
Yeah, and you just knew when Oklahoma came back with the 2 ding-dongs after the 1-0 lead.
Right.
They're like trailing.
Yeah.
What is this trailing still? Let me go ahead and just fix
They're like,
this.
yeah, let's have our 7 through 9 and show you how to do it.
Bomb, ding dong, the witch is dead, ball game.
Which is funny because a lot of those balls I thought were gone throughout the game, and I'm like, oh, like that was just a fly ball.
Anything to that left center alley, because the one golf shot, I'm like, she didn't even hit that.
Half swing over the fence.
But it's like, oh.
Although the highway robbery in center field.
Oh, yeah. It was all
inning.
She wrote. Like, they could have broke the flag. Well, they would have scored 2 there. So
3,
probably
2 were on.
Well, I'm talking about if it did, because it wasn't going to leave the yard.
Oh, you don't think so?
Nah, I think it was going to go
there.
I think it was going to go off the mesh.
Huh.
She wasn't
watch it.
Yeah, she wasn't going to rob. So let's just, for the sake of argument, 2 for sure score, right?
Right. Because it was 2nd and 3rd.
And you're probably thinking, okay, playing with a lead.
And a 2-run lead on Oklahoma's, I would argue to say it's as comfortable as you'll get.
Oklahoma's swag is something else. Did you see my shortstop with the whole? I don't know what the whole smelling of the finger is. It's kind of weird, but she does the little thing with her jazz hands. I'm like, that must be an inside joke. I think the worst, so I hope it's a joke. But
is it one of those? What are they? The sniffers that they use in football?
Hey, listen,
like,
I'm trying to
wake up.
Yeah, I'm trying to give her the benefit of that. I don't know what she's talking about.
Or maybe she's saying like, "Hey, my stuff don't stink."
Yeah, I don't ask questions. Yeah, your boy'd have to get up and leave. No, I
How about them apples?
Yeah, Damon does make some good movies, man. I got caught up watching Homefront.
Is that the one also on Hulu where like I don't remember who's the star, but is there an American flag in the background of the cover?
Maybe, but it's with Jason Statham. He has in the very beginning, spoiler alert from a movie that's like 2012 or 2013. Yeah, that's my guy.
Oh, so it's on his jacket.
Yeah,
the American flag.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I think I.
So he's an undercover guy, and he's busting this biker gang, and the guy on his his crew dies, and
yep, I've seen this.
Kind of retires to Podunkville, and his little girl gets bullied. See, that's the one I didn't think was going to leave. She's like, skip to the loo, my darling. Get up, baby.
Yeah, rewind that so we can see the third inning, please.
And she gets bullied at school by this little dude. And she ends up whipping him, and Dad gets mad. And Shane's guy, I don't know why he likes him, but the bad guy in that movie, Shane, who played
James Franco, right?
Yeah, Hobgoblin. Yeah, I'm not a fan. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
No,
and it's not even a typecast thing. I just don't. He gives me the willies.
Yeah, he's a weird dude. I mean, he was my guy
in real life too.
He was my guy back during Spider-Man because I actually thought he could be a great actor. I thought he could be the next Robert De Niro, but he kind of went. He went down. He went down the different path than what I thought he was going to go down.
I know he went from Franco and Spider-Man to De Niro.
Hey, does every team have a Wayne Gretzky?
Well, come on, Andrew. Why are you doing that, man?
They got a Verhaeghe?
They do have a Verhaeghe. I mean, is that guy going to get paid?
Yes.
Speaking of being paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid.
Did you know Bobrovsky's the highest paid goaltender in the league?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't know that. Would have never guessed that.
So
I would have thought Vasilevsky.
Was that Kevin? It might have been Kevin Allen we were talking to. Remember the guy that was like, your hockey? We were asking so when he's talking about Bobrovsky, he was like, yeah, kind of seen this before, and coming off the contract year from the Vezina, and so it just got me. I just remember him saying that.
Gotcha.
It's not like it was readily available in my Rolodex, right? But I just remember him saying that a couple months ago. Yeah,
with his struggles this year, I thought.
Hey, did you see the 3 dudes that had their stomachs painted B.O.B.?
No.
Yeah, they weren't wearing shirts. I mean, they were getting it. I mean, they were pretty thorough.
Panther fans were getting it on.
Totally trash.
Big body, big target.
Yeah, big body, big target.
Thank goodness the defense stepped up in that game too. What we talked about after game 2. They're leaving Bob out to dry.
Yeah.
They're not pinching.
Level of concern about Tkachuk?
He still scores in his.
How healthy do you think he is?
I think he's healthy enough to fight through.
We'll see.
If he's out there still putting the puck in the back of the net, I think they'll be just fine. If he's off the ice, and a lot of that's his fault too, because he's kind of overdoing it. I think he feels like he has to overdo it, so he's finding himself.
No, he's a skate hard guy.
Yeah, but I think he's finding himself in more frustration, more frustrative situations versus, hey, I'm playing to my strengths right now, and
you're like, look, bro,
I'm living up to my.
Don't mistake activity for achievement. Chill the heck out. You're busy being busy.
Right.
All the low coaching terms I like to tell our kids when they're running around acting like fools out there. Settle down. Take a deep breath, man. Get to the flats. Take your time. Hit and sit. Chill. What are you hopping around for, man? Relax. Sink and sit. All right. See what's coming. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I'm just.
You find the isms?
I do. You don't know how bad I want to leave next Wednesday at 9 so I can go to passing league. My buddy's kid's going to throw some against us, who I was telling you about coming up from Lincoln.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch him. I want to defend him.
Bounce at 9.
Nah, that's coming in July when we do team camp. You won't see your boy
ever.
We've got a great guest next Wednesday at 9, by the way.
I only take vacation to take my kids somewhere or travel. Right. I don't take it to
sit at home.
Yeah, I take vacation to go down to 89th and Pacific. That's the story of my life. What'd you say, Big Head?
I said we got a great guest next Wednesday.
Okay, who'd that be?
KB, Kenny Bell.
Oh, Afro Thunder. What he thinks about the schedule. Everybody has thoughts on the schedule. I thought my man Tony Petiti, smooth as Malanta. He'll be all right. Let him ease on into the job, the jobby job.
I still laugh at what Sherman said to me yesterday when I'm like, hey, are they going to protect 3? Are they going to protect 1? Andrew, watch the show.
Yeah. For some reason,
put me in my place, man.
I think my buddy DC, somebody told me to call it. Apparently, Mitch Sherman has an alias, and it is Clark Kent. I'm supposed to call him Clark Kent. So next time we're talking to Mitch in 2 weeks, I may just say Clark Kent. And you're going to wonder what the heck is going on.
So is he Superman when we talk to him?
I'm
or
sure
is he
there's
Clark
a.
Kent
I'm
when we
sure
talk to
there's a
him?
backstory. I just don't know it.
So we have to find that out.
Yeah, but I can't be cutting into his 22 minutes talking about Clark Kent though, because we
Hey,
got stuff.
we can
to
limit
talk
ourselves.
About. No, we got stuff to talk.
2.5 minutes.
By then, we'll be talking about why they didn't protect SC and Ohio State, man, in the rivalry. Jeez. My goodness. Hey, did you know Nebraska's one protected game was against Iowa? No poop. You don't say. Who would you have protected?
That would
of course
be
you
the
want
other
to.
one.
Of course you want to protect Iowa.
So I didn't really understand why Iowa got 3, other teams got 2, Nebraska got 1. I didn't really understand that until Trev explained that on the Husker Radio Network last night. Shane, do you have that clip for those that may have missed
what Trev had to say?
Missed what Trev had to say?
Shame on you, Shane. Do you have that audio from what Trev had to say?
I do, and by the way,
oh gosh,
Superman is the most underrated DC character.
He's the most overrated.
He's the most underrated
power-having dude ever. We don't agree on that either.
Most underrated superhero DC has is Superman.
How is he underrated if like DC was created around him?
DC was not created around him. He was created around Batman.
His name alone.
Fair.
His name
Okay.
alone. Listen,
you're right.
His name alone is not underrated. Superman.
What do you
I
want
mean,
so after
the epitome of a
Batman,
do you want to
superlative.
call him Wonder Man?
After Batman, who's next? Wow. Is it Superman?
It's Superman, yeah.
So yeah, he's top 2 in the DC universe.
Yeah, but there's a big gap there.
Big gap there. Go
Between 1 and 2?
Yes.
Hey, Lil Krypton. I want to hear the cut.
You want to hear the cut? Let's play it.
Yeah.
Is if you protected one game, who would you select? And obviously for us, it was Iowa. And then it was if you wanted to protect 2 games, who would you select? And, I submitted Iowa and Wisconsin. And then if you want to select 3 protected games, who would you select? And obviously geographically for me, Minnesota made a lot of sense. But then all of a sudden, a little gamesmanship started happening. You can imagine, if we could submit protected games, maybe we should just select the 3 teams that have been the least successful over the last 5 to 10 years in the Big Ten and protect them. So obviously that wasn't going to work. And so ultimately, as all of these other teams submitted who their protected rivals were, sometimes you submit a protected rival and that school doesn't submit you as a protected rival. So there's nuance there. And ultimately, the Big Ten had to go through, look at all of these requests from the institutions, look at our scheduling philosophy, look at competitive excellence over the past few years, look at geography, look at the integration of USC and UCLA, travel, student-athlete experience. There's a long laundry list. I think that the Big Ten included with the release. And ultimately, a schedule was created. And so it was also, Iowa's protected for us. But in 24 and 25, Minnesota and UCLA will be part of that. We did not release as part of this, but I know who in 25 and 26, who the other 2 are other than Iowa. So you just have to let these schedules sort of even out over time.
That
I know who.
For me.
I know who. I know who.
Yeah, 25, 26. Hey, guess who it is?
Guess who's back?
Guess who?
So the funny thing about that is it's just so not in my wheelhouse. But I am learning kind of the protocols because we do it at a much smaller level. We do it at the high school level, right? Your non-divisional games. And so you submit, hey, we'd like to play who are your top 3 teams you'd like to play in your non-divisional, whatever. You submit.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. They may not want to play you, so you may not get them. But if you guys both match up, chances are that the schedule makers that be at the NSAA will try to, and athletic directors will try to make it work. So it's just funny, like I could just see Nebraska, like, man, you know what? We really want to play Wisconsin. Fickle's that Nebraska. You know what? I don't really want to play Nebraska. I think I want one of my second protected game to be against Iowa, or Minnesota's like, man, we need Wisconsin. Fickle's like, I recruited in that state. I don't really want to highlight those guys at my expense to get my program up and running the way I want to. Nah, let's chill on it. I mean, he's talking about gamesmen. I'm just totally making up those hypotheticals. But like, what does who's putting Rutgers down as their natural rival? Penn State?
So I sat back and thought
Maryland
thing, and I go, maybe Ohio State and Michigan are looking at what the SEC has done with their schedule, and they're like, well, in order for me to stay as competitive record-wise as these teams are going to be over the next few years, maybe that means I have to submit the Rutgers of the world, the Indianas of the world. And so I'm like, was it the top teams that were trying to compete with the SEC?
How would Ohio State explain putting Indiana on there? Like, let's say, on the surface, it does
a bordering state, and like you could probably come up with some type of explanation.
Hey man, the student experience.
That was the first thing I thought of.
Hour 10, man. Hop on a plane.
That was the first thing I thought of. Like, if we're talking about gamesmanship, I can't imagine Northwestern is the team that's putting the lower tier teams in the Big Ten on there.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I couldn't imagine it was them. Obviously, it wasn't Nebraska because they only ended up with Iowa versus other teams that wanted to play. So the only explanation in my head that works is Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State doing something along those lines. Why does Penn State not have a team?
Does this dude not know I work?
Why does Penn State not have a rivalry? Is it because they went with hey, maybe I can get away with Rutgers?
So people forget, man, when they're busy fawning all over Delaney and the greatness that was. And people forget how bad Penn State was treated when they got to the Big Ten Conference, right? And then it's like, oh, man, Nebraska, partial payouts, a non-fully funded member. Mm-hmm. We watch them subsidize Maryland's move, and it's like, we miss Jim Delaney. And I was like, he didn't even like us. Like, why are we repping this dude, right? But anyway, it's funny. Like, Penn State was kind of the ugly kid on the doorstep for the longest. So maybe they just didn't feel it was on natural. It's not West Virginia. It's not Pitt. Like, who else is over there? They're worried about whether they can get Pitt back on the series. They ain't worried about what we're doing in the Big Ten. They don't have any natural rivals. I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know who would be their rival.
I need to go back and look at Michigan State's schedule because we kind of forget about them, man. It's kind of an important.
Well, what's their over/under this year? 5.5?
Dude, it might be lower than that.
Is it 4.5?
I don't know. I gotta check.
Well, while you check on that, I will let people know we're talking to Anthony Tolliver at 8 o'clock. He's the first guest, and then we have a long list behind him. We'll get to that next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
First thing is just, preserving some of the matchups that are important to Big Ten fans and to the member institutions, making sure those matchups continue, understanding that it goes beyond just one or two schools. I think the second really important thing is especially with the integration of USC and UCLA and bringing them in the conference, just being able to see more opponents more frequently is really important when you think about the integration and bringing everybody together. Just having that rotation, I think it really connects everybody when you're going to get and rotate through opponents very quickly. So I think the plan they had makes a lot of sense. The 9 games makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm really happy and pleased with where it ended up. And, I think this is a really important day and sort of sets the tone for, what's to come. And you look at the quality of the matchups, I think it's just remarkable what you're going to see on, Big Ten Saturdays going forward.
I'm back. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Get it. I'll be there. Man.
Which one? What time? They have a lot of times.
Dude, 10:15.
Okay, I'm going to do 10:35 because that's the earliest.
My man.
All right, next. This is the North 56th Street.
Yep.
Omaha North one.
I'm a North guy.
It's January. It's
first.
I think I can pass once I cross 72nd Street.
It should send you an email.
All right. Shane, how you like them apples? Shane goes, hey,
I got a number.
Listen.
How do you like them apples?
So Shane sometimes has a penchant for drama. Mm-hmm. And it can get a little overrated. And he walks over. Did you hear him quietly in between the breaks? He goes, Damon, hey, they're wondering why you're not on stream. In my head, I swear to goodness, this is just me real time, right? I'm like, man, get out. I didn't say anything, but I rolled my eyes. I was like, I don't Like, okay, nobody really cares that I'm not on stream. Then my little confidant, actually, he's my wise confidant because he's a little bit older than me. He sends me a DM and he goes, "You're not on stream." And remember, he's the guy that kind of keeps me in line. You know, he's kind of like, you look a certain way, you talk a certain way. He's very worldly. He's traveled a ton, very experienced. So I listened to him, and I was like, my producer can tell me I'm not on screen, and I don't give a what. My man Thomas tells me I'm not on screen. I'm like, oh, here, what can I do differently? How about don't sleep on the fact that this phrase was uttered. Not just one or two teams. I wanted to stand up and give myself a golf clap.
That's this. This is golf clap.
I'm like, the slow clap, I mean. Because somebody actually said that out loud. It's not just about you, Michigan and Ohio State. Hey, but let's interview Gene Smith. Gene, what do you think? My man Gene Smith used the term, in essence, round robin. Cut it out. There's no such thing. Either you play round robin or you don't play round robin. When you have 16 teams in the league and you're only playing 9 league games, it in no way, shape, or form resembles round robin. Okay? Stop trying to sell me on that, Gino. Anyway, I have issues. Which was what made me so mad about people getting on Kevin Warren. I'm like, he's trying to protect the conference. And he's not acquiescing to the bigwigs. And you're mad because we couldn't deal with COVID. Grow the heck up.
How many games was it? 6 games?
Yeah, I don't know.
How many games passed?
You asked me the same question last year.
Oh, I know I didn't know you last year.
It feels like it.
Yeah, it does. Well,
it's gonna be a year here soon.
Yeah. What was it?
I don't know. July.
Well, it could have been June.
No,
I think it was July.
I don't know. I just remember sitting in that little room doing fake podcasts to see if we got along. I was like, this thing.
Remember the days of hot takes?
Yeah. I did think you were nuts. I still think you're crazy. It's just a different kind of crazy.
That thing wet.
Like
I'm in direction, but I'm just crazy walking
yeah,
where
it's
I'm going.
very, very you're like calculated crazy. Like when you get going on something, it's like, nah, I know you know better, but you're going there anyway just because you want to.
It's not just because I can. It is a desire to go.
Yeah, right. Like, and so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. Like everybody has kind of their things, right? So, and I'm like,
Everybody.
I know, Trev. I almost said Trevor, but I need
everybody.
I need for him and Mr. Ewald to ride with me on these negotiations. So I'm going to say, Mr. Alberts. Mr. Alberts, can you do me a solid?
Hey, I got this question sent to me on Twitter.
Is it a hard one? Because every time you say, I want to ask you a question, it always turns out to be like 3 segments of me like sweating bullets.
I think this one's a lot easier.
All right.
And a lot more chill.
Hey, so I've been thinking about something. I just want to ask you something.
It's an own question.
And every time I'm like, oh, great, here we go. R.I.P. to our guest because we'll never get to him. What are we talking about?
In 2 years, will a 9-3 record get you in a championship game?
Oh, Claude, have mercy. Probably.
9-3, you think?
Probably.
I think only 10-2 would do it.
It depends, right? I think we're assuming 2 teams are going to be, we're making them good, and I'm not sure they will be. But here's what we better stop sleeping on. The league is much better at the bottom than it was when Nebraska first got in the conference. And most people will put Nebraska in the bottom of that conference. And so if you're taking a look at the bad teams or teams that people look at and say, oh, that should be a win, right? The Indianas, the Illinois, the Nebraskas, the Marylands, the Northwesterns. Like, how long are those teams going to be bad? It's not. It's a good league, right? Illinois is already
Northwestern.
Illinois
they can have ups and downs any year.
Illinois is already a problem,
right?
I mean, at some point you'd like to at some point you'd like to think Nebraska is going to be a problem. Like, who are the teams like you're penciling in?
into a 10-2 record,
yeah,
if the USC and Michigan's.
Man, I don't know. Who are they blocking? Are they all of a sudden going to play some good defense?
Maybe. And once they get rid of Alex Grinch.
Hey, if the Big Ten was really thinking, they should be like, hey, man, I dare USC to come to Ann Arbor in November for a 7 p.m. kick. I'll show you what it's like to play in some snow, Southern Cal.
You can't play primetime games.
And I'm like, because you've never done it before means it's not a good idea. You guys aren't thinking. Don't you want UCLA playing in inclement weather in November? Yes, but let's just do it in the daytime so we can get their charter back. Mm-hmm. Oh, tell that to me in October when we're flying back from Pasadena at 10:30 at night, West Coast time. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so narrow-sighted. So to hear somebody say it's not just about this or this, keep that same energy. Because if you want the league, because this has been the problem with the Big Ten. I'm on my soapbox. You want Irish Spring or Dial or
I prefer
Dove. You look like a Dove guy.
Safeguard.
Dude, my mom has a block of soap.
Of Dove soap?
I thought it was Lever 2000, but it's square. And I'm telling you, it's bigger than both my fists.
Is it rock hard?
And I'm like, why do you have this thing that looks like you would chalk your thumb if you were getting ready to play pool? You know what I mean? Like that. And I can't remember where she said she got it, but apparently this is fancy. So I don't think I can lift it. I don't even know why I said that. But anyway, it would be the soapbox that I need to stand on for this. With the Big Ten, and if you're going to sacrifice the opportunity to play for a championship by adding one more league game to the inventory so you can keep the league paid, right? Because basically you're saying we're not going to schedule another win. We're going to schedule a conference game. You may or may not win it, but hey, we keep the inventory in-house. You don't have to pay it out to another school to come play. Television's happy. We get more money. Everybody wins. Like, everybody gets the same, right? That's kind of like socialism, kind of loosely, right? No, the problem is we have this socialism, this model where we want the bottom to be closer to the top and move the middle closer to the top, the bottom closer to the middle. But you have a couple of capitalists in the conference, right? And everything that they do is at everybody else's expense. So it's like, well, which is it? Are we just catering? Because philosophically, the things that they want when they're beating their fists at the table that other schools weren't getting, you sat there and you said, wait a minute, I thought this was A414A. I thought this was all for one for all. Only when it behooves you guys? See, make your mind up. If this is for the greater good, then do it that way. The schedule should reflect it. The ideology in the protected rivalry should reflect it, because you can't do this totality, everybody to win, and then cater. Like, it just sends mixed messages, and as we've seen it just pisses people off within the conference.
Yeah, you bring up a good point with the travel and the weather that these West Coast teams are going to have to play in.
Get over yourself. You trying to win? Guess not, apparently.
We'll be back.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Hey, welcome back. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency.
How's my stream game?
Andrew Rogers, you're back. Whistling back in.
Stream.
Oh, I got you.
Shane Island's in the stream. Who sings it?
I don't know why you stream. Do you swim upstream or downstream?
No, that would be amazing, Daniel. Although he did have the greatest line ever, and I can give him a compliment because I think he's in California, but he was like,
so he's not listening.
Yeah, wait,
at least live.
Yeah, who knows? He's like, yeah, man, I heard that comment. I don't swim upstream. I got my own channel. You okay? Look, he thought that was funny.
I had to turn the mic on the laugh at that one.
I wasn't even that. I
yeah, he owns TBS now. He's got his own. He's got his own channel.
I chuckled. Are you? So you're cool with the schedule breakout?
So I'm cool with how everything laid out. Yeah, I didn't really pay too close of attention to other teams because, frankly, who cares?
My dear, I don't give a darn.
Who cares? Like if they show up and they're playing, booty teams from non-con divisions to get 3 wins, then great, good for you.
Booty.
But I'll tell you, in 2025, first thing that got reaction was, hey, there's a lot of good teams here. You have to play Cincinnati, who at least when Luke Fickell was there, they were a very good team, made it to the college football playoff. Then you have Michigan at home, UCLA at home. You're on the road at USC, and Ohio State, I think, is the other one that's Minnesota, I think, is built in. But all I could think about was, what is Matt Rule thinking about right now? Is he thinking
Minnesota?
Is he thinking about 2025 Minnesota at home? Like that's going to be rough.
I'll tell you exactly
what UCLA. Ooh, that's going to be. I got to go to USC. Like I kind of like that environment. Nebraska back in the Rose Bowl. Like okay, I'm there. No, Matt Rule is like, by year 3, we better have a good enough team to compete with that schedule.
That's what he's thinking. And he's he says he's in his office. He's got his coffee. How soon? Looking forward to it. That's what he's thinking. Although I'm not going to be there, so do your thing.
Hey, at least you have blood there, right?
Yeah. Well, dude just got up and got on the interstate.
I like how you called and you're like, hey, watch the sun.
Hey, you just put me on blast. I still got to be a dad.
I love it, though. I love it because it is bright when you're driving that direction.
And I don't think
this hour.
And I don't think he is a child. I don't think he owns sunglasses. He might. No, he might.
Not even like a pair of cheap ones that you get off.
No,
of a
he
stand
does
at
have
school?
something. He does have something in this little gray bag in the console, but he doesn't have anything. You could tell it's like total model behavior because he doesn't have anything in his car.
Yeah, nothing like Chick-fil-A sunglasses.
Nope. And he asked a couple of days ago if I could get him some things in the car to make it smell good.
Like the trees or the plug-ins?
Well, I use the
plug-ins,
plug-ins, and I'm like, because that's again a DB thing. I'm like, hey man,
yeah, my car smells like laundry.
You know to stop at the store, just go do your thing, right? Like
you didn't want to be caught buying those things.
Sometimes you have some embarrassing purchases. You know what I mean?
Stuff on everybody.
That shouldn't be that big of a deal, but anyway, they'll probably rake him through the coals. They'll come back and be like, "Dad, I committed," and I'll be like, "Oh,
no big deal."
I think a lot of people would have that reaction or a "Let's go, yippee," whatever it is.
Nah, remember, man, the kind of the stance we take.
He's not worried about going quick.
Nope. Then the stance we've kind of taken is it appears right now. So you're kind of an afterthought. So you just keep that same energy. And it's fun.
Which is cool.
It is. Because you know what's funny is we've low-key adopted like that as a team. And I know people are going to give us the Georgia reference. But everybody's mad because they hate how recruiting's going.
That is true. That is true.
Oh,
hey, being an afterthought, though, you can be an afterthought and be the best team. Like, I remember after Georgia won the title, I was one that got on my soapbox and said, well, who doubted you?
So,
and I went back and forth about, like, well, there were people throughout the season that were like,
it just kind of fits, right? You're happy for guys like Michael Burt, right? At least I am, right? I was talking with my guy Carney.
I'm happy about any recruit that gets an offer here in town.
So, but it's prep, right? So when kids kind of scroll along on their timeline, they see he prep, recruit, and Michael Burt. So that automatically dials you in. Ooh, we play prep. And you can't get on social media without seeing something from Bellevue S. So that's good too, right? It's just built-in autofocus while you're still trying to take care of your own business. Like I don't think you'll have any problems being motivated.
It's 7:49 on a Friday. Let's go to the phones and talk to Cody here to talk Nebraska preps last night, which I would guess he means the collegiate athletes exceeding at something, but they came from somewhere, and that was here in state. Cody, good morning.
Commander Cody, what's up?
What's going on, boys?
Just trying to make it. How about you?
A while. Well, there was about a 5-minute stretch last night that the state of Nebraska was looking real good because Vrzal is fast, which we all know.
Did I see 11-1?
That's not even her PR this year, man. She went 11:04.
No, I know that. I'm just saying last night. Was it 11-1-7?
Yeah, she went 11-1-7 last night. So she got the final qualifying spot for the finals tomorrow.
That is rolling. They see me
and
rolling.
Then, so you had that, and then about
it's going to be my 40
later,
time.
Jordy gets that final out.
Yeah, you know what? How competitive is she?
Oh, she's legit. I think what did Gary say last night? She's like 134-5 between high school and college.
Yeah,
something like that.
Not used to losing.
Yeah,
you know the unsung hero on that team is Gasso's brother. Their hitting instructor.
Yeah, the pitching coach.
No, he's hitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were talking about their pitching coach came from Florida State.
Yeah, because
Florida.
Because they rake.
Yeah, they don't have an issue. Yeah. They don't have an issue with whoever they play, unless you are facing Stanford. Then
they seem to have their number.
Touch and go.
Hey, she threw gas though, especially for just a freshman.
Yeah, well, that's Jordy Ball of last year.
Who she was touching like 77, 78.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
you got to remember, Washington has themselves a pretty good freshman.
Yeah, Ruby, Super Ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah, I'm super. I don't know,
Ruby?
but she looks
like she's like 6'4".
I know she is long. I think it's because
6'1".
Yeah, she has those super long legs, and she tows the rubber man, and it's just all legs. Yeah, like it was pretty cool to see Washington make their run. Are you going out to any 7-on-7s, or are you too busy building homes following Greco-Roman nationals or whatever?
Oh, well, I got a wedding tomorrow, so I won't be at the All-Star duel.
Yeah, all right. R.I.P. to somebody's freedom.
Right? Then we got Fargo coming up in about a month, a little over a month. Your boy Sautter will be out there.
Yeah, I just want the roadie stories. The only reason I care about taking care of his leg is because I want him full go when he heads up to Fargo for the meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe we can get Chuck and him around too up there.
Yeah. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
I don't know.
Cody, he sat in our meeting. He sat in our meeting Wednesday, and like I just wanted to make sure that his stitches were good and everything. And he's like showing me his leg, and he's still mowing. He's a competitive son of a gun.
His stitches?
I held his calf. I didn't touch his stat. I didn't touch his stitches. Cody, where are you on your way to work?
I am tree spading today over in your neck of the woods, over up 114th and roughly like Lincoln area.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is right around the corner. You practicing that ball technique at home, man? I haven't seen any pictures. Is he high and tight carrying the rock?
Yeah, we had him working on throwing. I texted Mel Flores a picture. I had Stetson in a Nebraska onesie, and Mel goes, "I'm gonna take care of that and get you an Oklahoma State one."
I saw him at the Oscars a couple weeks ago. He looked great.
Oh yeah, he got big.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oklahoma State's been good to say.
So you know what's funny? We had this genetics question, and somebody asked me about how I know about kids and recruiting and stuff. Man, look no further than Flores, right? He's significantly bigger than both his parents.
Oh yeah, I mean his dad, he's a big barrel-chested guy, but he's kind of.
That's because he does real labor.
Does he have tall uncles?
Yeah.
You know, he does like grown man work. But he
did play football for UNO. So.
He's tall. He's long. Zane is tall.
Big guy.
Yeah. He's every bit of 6'4".
Kind of keeps to himself.
Yeah, just super quiet.
Yeah.
All right, Cody, you be easy.
Hey, real quick for
Go
you
ahead.
guys.
Yeah.
Give me some undercover names. Obviously, I know all the big names around the Metro.
Yeah.
Who are some guys that are impressing you so far in passing league that I should watch this fall?
So I
Millard South guys.
Yeah, you could. There's a laundry list at Millard South, but you're kind of on to them. You know, I think Jackson's a good player. They got a little running back that I like.
I'm captain of the Jackson Williams train. So.
Yeah, hey, listen, you and me both. I feel like we're like the only two people that ever bring him up out loud.
Really?
Millard West baseball. Yeah, we
I
talk about him all. Nobody else does. Keep an eye on Keenan Cotton too.
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy.
Good one, guys.
Hey, thanks, Cody. Yeah, Millard West baseball. I was talking to my guy CJ, assistant coach, the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, so how are they going to be next year? No Dermer. Got some returners though. Still gonna have a lot of pop in that lineup.
Yeah, people, and it's a destination school. People want to go there.
Oh, yeah, well, we saw that from our boy over at UTAN.
Yeah, wow. Hello.
We'll be back after the break.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
As Tolliver knocks it away, that's turnover. His shot on the break. Sends it right wing. Tolliver to the rim, and he lays it in. Boy, that was a beauty coming in from the right wing. 93-89, Detroit by 4.
Here's Tyus on the drive. Another opportunity for Tolliver. He'll lock and load and hits. A right side three for Anthony Tolliver. Puts the Wolves up 13.
Here's up to Tolliver. Top of the key three on the way. Buries it! Anthony Tolliver! The fountain of youth, and the Blazers lead it by 3.
Oh, the endless wonder of Anthony Tolliver.
16 in the fourth quarter for Anthony Tolliver.
Well, if you're using deductive reasoning, I bet you can guess who our next guest is. And that's Anthony Tolliver, 15-year NBA vet and former Creighton Blue Jay at @Tolliver44 on Twitter. We got him on because he's got a camp coming up. He'll be at Scott Catholic High School July 17th through the 19th, holding his annual camp for K through 9th graders. You'll learn from Anthony Tolliver, along with current and former Creighton Blue Jay basketball players and other collegiate players from the Omaha area. A-Train, product of Springfield, Missouri. Go Chiefs.
Right down the road from you. Oh, you feel excited. AT, good morning,
Chiefs.
man.
How you guys doing?
Well,
Hey,
Andrew's really good.
I saw Missouri, and I'm like, we're good. This is it. This is all we're going to talk about.
I'm actually in Missouri at the moment.
Let's go.
Visiting my family.
Oh, good for you.
That's AT. I got to ask, because I was talking to Kevin the other day, and I think you're kind of to the point now where you can kind of reflect a little bit. You're doing the family thing. You love the kiddos and kind of this presence. Now, when you first started at Creighton, at what point were you like, man, you know what? I'm going to kind of be this guy, beloved. I'm going to age really well. When people talk about my career, it's going to be this expansive story. I can come back to Omaha. I'm not even originally from here, be so well received. Like, it's kind of a cool story just from almost seemingly being a good guy that likes to go to work. Like, it shouldn't be that hard, but you do seem kind of novel in how you come about doing this.
Yeah, I just figured that out yesterday, that I was beloved. No, man, you know what? Like, I've never really thought too much about, everything else in life. I just always put my head down and going to work, and not really worried about the results because I knew the results would be success. And whatever now defining success is a different story, right? But I just knew that I'm going to control everything. That's what I cared about, which was just working. And I was like, hey, if I can make the NBA or play professional basketball and make money playing basketball, that's success. Like, if I didn't make the NBA and I played over in Europe for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, that's success, right? Like, there was no losing as long as I put in the maximum effort in my journey.
Anthony, finding success in any way you can. I really like that message. Would that be the number one message that you took from just your overall career that you can share with not only young people at your camps, but just young people in general?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's no replacement for hard work. I tell people that all the time. People always ask me, one of the biggest questions and most frequent questions that I get from kids is, how'd you make it? Now, it is nice to have God bless you with being 6'8" and long arms. That helps. That really helps the cause. Football players just having an ability, but also I'm average.
Breaking up just a little bit on us there, AT. Go ahead. Want to repeat just the last tail end of that?
No, I was just saying.
There you are.
Average. Yeah, I was just saying, like, I'm average for the NBA. So just being able to separate yourself from everybody else, it just comes back to the work. And so that's what I, like I said, base everything on. And that's what I tell kids all the time is, like, hey, control the controllables, which is hard work, which is everything that you can do, you should be doing.
Yeah, so what makes Omaha, like, I'm just curious, right? I mean, a long way from Kickapoo, maybe easy to do it there, and maybe you do, but Omaha seems to, it's been on your radar for so long as you brought these camps back constantly in the Omaha community. Like, what's made Omaha a desirable place for you to want to really focus on the youth here?
Honestly, spending 4 years there, seeing all the kids, and doing camps, like camps on camps on camps every summer, with Creighton and with Jewish Community Center, and feel like I'm over at UNO. I mean, I felt like I was all over the place.
You've been at Miller North, Miller
North,
yeah.
And then also over in, like, Holdridge. I don't know, how much you guys know about Holdridge over there. I know that's not Omaha, but I got invited to a camp over there for a couple of years and really enjoyed it. And so, I don't know. First of all, I just love camps. So I'm literally, after I get off the phone here, I'm going over across town and I'm going to run a free clinic here in Springfield. So yeah, just, I've always loved the environment, loved giving back, and having camps. So it's just always kind of been something I like to do.
Where does that stem from for you? Was it something that, you saw how you went through life early on, attending camps, attending various clinics, and then eventually one day when you did make it, did it come to you, or did you think to yourself, hey, I want to do this for the next in line? Or was this just how you were brought up individually, in your own household to give back to the community?
It kind of stemmed from doing the camps in college. So in college, at the Creighton camps, at the Jewish Community Center camps, like those, I would say those two camps probably had the biggest impact on my wanting to do this myself. Just being able to be in the environment, I kind of had this natural knack for it. And you can kind of see whenever there's other workers from colleges and stuff like that, high schools even, you can see the guys who naturally thrive around kids and thrive in the environment. And you see the guys who are basketball players who got basically asked to come teach kids. Mm-hmm. There's a difference. And I'm one of those people who just naturally, like, I'm naturally going to just push them to work, but I'm also going to push them to have fun and everything else. And it's just who I am. And, I went to Creighton originally because, the medical school, because I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Yeah.
So I've always loved being around kids and helping kids and everything else. So naturally, whenever it comes to basketball, like that's the age group that I prefer to work with. Like, I don't have any issues with, older kids and elite players and stuff like that. But it's less fun and more work whenever you get older. And hey, there's plenty of people out here training pros and college guys. So I'll let them continue to do that. I'll focus on the kids.
I want to get to the NBA in a sec before we finish up with the camp. But let me ask you this about Creighton, since you brought it up. Pleasantly surprised, could see it coming. Sleeping Giant, obviously going from Altman to Mac, it changed the Big East, the Mo Valley to the Big East. Television revenue. I mean, when you left, at any point did you think, gosh, you know what, someday this could be a perennial top 25, top 20 national caliber program?
Absolutely. And it had nothing. I mean, obviously, I didn't foresee us going to the Big East, but it's just there. When you have a solid program with a lot of history, and as long as you have good leadership, you have a chance. And I saw somebody like a Gonzaga. Even if we never went to the Big East, I viewed Creighton as the next Gonzaga, as somebody that could go from a smaller league, a smaller school, to being someone who can be a dominant at the national level over a long period of time. And so when we went to the Big East, obviously that increased our reach and our ability to recruit and everything else, our footprint. But it, even without that, I was just like, seeing Gonzaga do it, I was like, it's possible, right? It's not like it's impossible for a smaller school or a smaller name to become a perennial contender. And so I've always had the confidence that we could do it, because we've always kept, obviously between Altman and then going from Altman to Mac, it's always been, great leadership. So I was like, okay, well, we have a chance.
Anthony, based on everything that I've learned about you in this short part of the interview, one of the big things I took away was the fact that you just kind of put your head down and go. And that's kind of how you like to direct yourself. So when I think about players in the NBA Finals, for example, I see walking in pregame, looking at them in postgame. You kind of look at how they're dressed and their fit game, and you're like, huh? Like, is this really what you're going with today? Did you ever like dress like athletes today when you were walking into the stadium, or potentially doing an interview after the game and you're wearing a very flashy fit?
No, I'm the complete opposite of flashy. I'm a pretty simple guy. As soon as they allowed us to wear sweatsuits to the games, that's all I wore to the games. I think I'm looking at outfit I have on right now. I think every single piece I have on is free. Like I don't pay for fashion or clothes or anything. It's all just like, I'm practical. I'm a practical guy, not a flashy guy.
And I remember you had John a couple years ago, and we were talking. I think you're just finishing up in Philly, so just a couple years ago. And it seems like even since then, A-Train, like the game has changed. I'm watching these finals now, and I'm watching a couple guys, you know, Murray and Jokic, and they're going for triple doubles. And it's like, golly, I remember like just 8-9 years ago, that was a big deal for Russell Westbrook. When you look at the game and just this short time and its evolution, what's changed the most that's allowed some of these numbers statistically to be so inflated?
Well, the pace of play is the number one thing that's changed. I saw a stat a couple years ago, and I'm sure it's actually increased since then. But I saw a stat a couple years ago that you remember the run and gun Phoenix Suns, Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire. Their pace of play in that time frame was unbelievably fast. They're like, oh my gosh, they're running and gunning. They shoot so quick. Well, a couple years ago, that team would have been second to last or third to last in the NBA in pace of play, right? So that's what's changed. Is the game has sped up, much more possessions, a lot more possessions than prior, and which obviously, if there's more possessions, what is there a chance of there being more of? Everything, right? More rebounds, more assists, more points, more everything. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, I think that's the thing you can attribute it to it. But also, you can't discount Jokic or anybody for going and putting up triple doubles. I mean, like the dude is unbelievable. And everybody else. I mean, you got two teammates doing 30-point triple doubles. That's never been done in the finals, but it's also just like, I don't even know how many times it's been done in NBA history. I don't know. It's just crazy to see it, but it's I mean, they do it the right way. They play the right way, and they're unbelievable. So I mean, kudos to them for just continuing to be play great.
We got into a pretty spirited discussion a couple of days ago about underrated, overrated, what actually happens on the benches with coaches in the NBA, especially with the hirings, the firings, the immediately getting new jobs. When you look at like the runs, or because you see these ridiculous runs, right? A 17-1 run or no lead seems safe. Is that coaching? Is that players just deciding to play hard? Because there's a lot of misnomers about how hard guys actually play in the NBA and what it is. Like, where do we undersell coaching in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, the 17-0 runs and all that different type of stuff. I mean, I think that some of that stuff could be, managed, but it's just, I don't know. It's just how the game goes now. Like, it's just, you're subject to that. I mean, I feel like in the past, they would, a lot of coaches would call a timeout after a 6-0 run or 8-0 run. Oh, no, we got to stop this, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't know. I think that a lot of coaches' philosophy now is, calling a timeout for a 6-0 run is kind of a waste because you have a lot of game and obviously if you're seeing it go too much, then you probably want to stop the bleeding. But it's your team is subject to or could potentially turn around and do another 6 or 8-0 run right back. I don't know. It's just how the game goes nowadays. It's the flow of the game. It's a game of runs, and you just have to limit. The biggest thing is just limiting the other team's run and obviously maximizing your own.
So outside of game management, how much influence does, because you've played for so many different teams, does a coach have during a game, or does it just depend on that coach's personality?
Yeah, every coach is different. Some coaches are like Popovich. Sometimes he'll have quick timeouts but then all other times he says, you guys got to figure it out. Right. He'll just say, yeah, they're on a 12-0 run. He'll just look at the team on the court and just kind of wave them, go, like figure it out. I'm not here to fix every problem. I'm your coach, but as a player, you gotta grit and grind. You gotta figure it out. And so, but other coaches like Mike Brown, he's kind of the opposite. Like as soon as the team goes on like a 6-0, 7-0 run, he's like quick timeout. Like you just know it's coming. That's just his style. So everybody's different. Everybody has a different philosophy on when to strategically, manage runs and everything else. But, I don't know where I stand on it. I feel like there's always, every game's different and every flow is different. So I feel like I would be more like Pop, where there's times where it makes sense to stop a run, but other times it's like, you got to figure it out.
Talking with the great Anthony Tolliver, former NBA vet, former NBA vet, former Blue Jay. It's always weird when people talk about former with athletes because like you'll always have done it. But AT, let me get you out of here on this, at least from me. We talked about the evolution of the game and kind of the way it's changing. You bring it back full circle to why you love instruction, regardless of how the game has changed. You're camping July 17th through the 19th at Omaha. Scott will be the host site. What are the non-negotiables for you? What are the kids going to walk away with? You've given away everything from beds to shoes to sometimes your camps are free. Like there's always some give back from your vantage point. What are the skills, the fundies that are the non-negotiables for A-Train that you know kids in your camp are going to get regardless of the evolution of the game?
Honestly, the fundamentals. No matter where the game goes, the fundamentals of the game aren't going to change. You have to be able to dribble. You have to be able to play defense. You have to be able to shoot. You have to be able to, do all these things, right? Like the fundamentals never change. Now, how you utilize those over time that changes, right? Like shooting used to be, hey, you have to be able to post up and shoot jump hooks. Like we don't do that crap anymore. It's kind of crazy, but like, the top two MVP candidates are post guys, right? Because there's nobody to guard them. There's no big men anymore.
Yeah.
I think but even those guys can shoot threes. Even those guys can pass and dribble and do everything, right? So in today's game, you have to be able to do everything. So my camps are always going to consist of all the foundational basics of playing the game. And it's never like a situation where you can do that stuff too much. And it's just in discipline, right? So that's the other piece of the puzzle for me is I want my kids to have a ton of fun, but whenever I'm talking, they don't talk. Whenever the coaches are talking, they don't talk. I have a ball in my hand. And I do this every single year. I have a ball in my hand. And if I'm talking and they're talking, or if they are not looking at me, I throw the ball at them. Like that's just how I run my camp. And yeah, just donk them right in the head. And I've only had like 2 criers in 10 years, nice. So it's, pretty good ratio.
How do you make it a third?
2 criers into hey, run your mouth. Go there and run your mouth. You'll see.
Hey, yeah, run.
Oh shoot!
Can I sneak one more in? Just one more quickly here, because something that a coach always told me to do growing up when I attended camps was, it's a short window, so focus on one thing while you're there and get better at one thing. Like if there's somebody, whoever's instructing the camp, whatever they tell you to do, like focus on one thing and always try to get better at that one thing. And you got to always take it home too and work on it. You can't just be better in 2 days. But what's your biggest piece of advice for your camp leads when they come and attend one of your camps?
You say my biggest piece of advice for the kids who are attending camp?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I think that's about as sound of advice as you can get. It's just like, hey, what's your one takeaway? If you have one, great. If you have 2, 3, even better, right? But what are you going to take home? Because the biggest thing is you come to camp, you're not going to be, I always tell the kids this, you're not going to become a better basketball player from coming to camp and then never implementing the stuff you learn at camp. You have to take the stuff from camp home. You have to work at home. You have to work in the gym once you leave here. Take these drills and go implement them at home or in the gym near you, right? The camp, 1 week of camp is not going to make anybody a great basketball player. It just gives people tools to be able to become a great basketball player. That's it.
AT, appreciate you, my guy. Looking forward to it when you get here, July 17th through the 19th. What else do we need to know, A-Train?
Oh, man. Life is good.
Know what I mean?
That's it. Saveprogram.org is where you can register.
There it is.
Also, the next week, so for the following 7 days, because I'm feeling real generous, I want to have everybody have the ability to register for a discount. So $100 instead of $140. So I want to. I kind of got started late on promoting the camp and stuff. Just so much stuff going on in my life, but I want to fill this thing up because this is not about money, but there's also things that cost money to run a camp. So I do have to charge a little something.
Yeah.
But $100 for the next week. So if you missed this week window, sorry, you got to pay the full price. But if anybody's going to register or thinking about registering, the time is now. So saveprogram.org to get registered for the camp.
And we'll make sure to tweet out that information as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate your time, man.
Thank you for the call.
Oh, also, sorry, last thing.
Go ahead.
If anybody doesn't have any kids or doesn't, hey, my kids are older, but I just love Anthony Tolliver. You can also sponsor a kid or 2 or 10, however many you want.
That's awesome.
Anybody who wants to sponsor, I'll figure out something. I'll send you a signed, I'll send you an autograph or something if you sponsor a kid. We'll get some pictures lined up and sign them up for you and send them out to you. But so sponsor a kid. Also, if you just love Anthony Tolliver and want to support your boy.
Did he hear our conversation yesterday about how I like signed things?
Yes. He knows he's talking to you.
Yeah, he's talking to me.
You got AR on the hook for 7 kids. Appreciate it, AT.
Yo. All right.
Thanks.
Anthony Tolliver, 15-year vet and former Creighton.
Yeah, life is crazy like that.
He's hilarious.
Shane, is it break time?
We lost the clock.
Is it that time yet?
Oh, well, I was too involved into the conversation, so we're probably way over now.
All right.
Wow.
That's only like the second time we've been doing this that's happened. It got away from me. One time he's getting the door, remember?
Yeah, that was true. We needed him to do that. We'll be back after the break.
Clear.
It was a very good start for National Treasure today. Mage came out pretty well. In fact, he's going to be close. There goes Coffee with Briscoe, moving up on the outside. Blazing 7's away, running in third. Mage closer to the pace today. He's 3 lengths off the lead with 1 lap to go. Red Route 1 is next, and then Perform. And late running long shot chases National Treasure into that first turn. He's on top by 2 lengths. Goes by that opening quarter mile in 23.95 seconds. Pace is a moderate one. Coffee with Chris, the Maryland runner, is second. And Blazing 7's on the outside. Javier Castellano finds a cozy spot with the Kentucky Derby winner, Mage. They're 4 lengths off the lead entering the backstretch. No Route 1 is right to the inside. Then comes Perform and Chase the Chaos. The half mile, a pedestrian one, was 48.92 seconds. Advantage National Treasure, who heads up the backstretch 3/4 of a length ahead. Coffee with Chris is second. Red Route 1 has made a move on the inside. Blazing 7's is 3 wide. Mage is right behind them. He's still 3 lengths behind with a half mile left. then perform and chase the chaos. Around the far turn, National Treasure is the leader. Javier Castellano is now taken. Mage to the outside. He's moved up into third as Blazing Sevens takes on front-running National Treasure coming toward the top of the stretch. National Treasure off the turn and run. Blazing Sevens alongside. Mage is 2.5 lengths behind them. Red Roswell cuts the corner, and they're into the stretch. National Treasure taken on by Blazing Sevens. Mage wanders inside. Still work to do with him. National Treasure digging in. Blazing Sevens. Mage is third. National Treasure. It's Blazing Sevens putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it going to be? It's going to be National Treasure. John Velasquez gets his Preakness. And Bob Baffert has won his 8th one. Blazing Sevens was second best. Mage ends up third. And a great stretch run in the Preakness Stakes.
Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
The world may never know.
Just had a great conversation with Anthony Tolliver. Again, you can support what they're doing July 17th through the 19th at Scott Catholic High School by going to saveprogram.org to sign up, or you can sponsor an athlete to do so. And if you missed it at the back end of our conversation with him, he said if you choose to sponsor somebody to go, he will take care of you by giving you a signed photo. So
he said he'll think of something
along those lines.
I remember one year, maybe 2 years in a row, when he was in Golden State.
GSW
had a good relationship with Steph. He was giving away Currys.
Wow.
One year, this was probably like 2017. He was giving away beds or for a shelter, like as part of a partnership, matching giving away beds. Like he's just that dude.
I felt dinged up.
How's Kickapoo as are they good?
Good sports school.
Okay.
Yeah. They're always doing something, whether it's good at baseball, whether it's good at football.
I got my buddy Drew Givens, who's from Omaha originally.
Good at basketball too. Really good at basketball.
Is down. He's got a car dealership with his wife. And,
yeah, if you live in Springfield, you want to go to Kickapoo. Like,
yeah, I think it's Thompson Automotive.
Not sure.
She was a Thompson.
Okay.
Used to hoop at Nebraska. But anyway, I think Drew's a bigwig there.
Yeah.
And he has been in Springfield for, probably 15, 16 years. Maybe more. Probably more.
It's Springfield.
20 years maybe.
Springfield's a very nice college town. But boy, does that high school team, area get slept on a little bit because.
And Springfield?
Yeah, because of Missouri State.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people just kind of associate only Missouri State with Springfield. Springfield Cardinals are there too.
Yeah.
But until you get to like state tournament time, unless you're from that area, you don't remember the Kickapoos of the world. But then you see them in the state final, and you're like, oh, yeah, they are good.
Nice.
They are a good team, but appreciate having him on. But speaking of towns, yesterday, you know what grinded my gears?
I just want to see AT out there in Holdridge having camps. I drive past Holdridge. You just head west.
And just keep driving?
Yeah. Well, it's on the way to like Gothenburg.
It's like Zombie Land. We're just going west. There's no zombies out west.
I recognize what we're doing. Me neither.
You know what really grinded my gears yesterday, DB? I'm watching.
Are you making this up, or is this one of your Andrewisms?
No, this is really.
This is totally an Andrewism if you say what I'm going to say. So one of three things happened. What I guarantee is this during a sporting event?
It is during a sporting event.
Okay, a broadcast.
It is a broadcast.
Somebody either said the wrong last name. Somebody mispronounced the name of a player.
Okay.
Somebody asked a question that everybody would know the answer to, and you felt like they wasted their time answering that question, asking that question.
These are two good answer choices so far.
Or they talked over what was happening and didn't focus on the broadcast. Is it one of those things?
It is one of those things, and it is number one. It is number one. It was mispronouncing something, whether it was a name or a place, and they mispronounced the place. I'm watching Holly Rowe do the interview with Jordy Ball at the end of the game. And, it's really easy to kind of stay in your lane, right? Don't try to do too much. Let the athlete do most of the talking.
Like when you were trying to sound out whether it was Kaylin or Kayline, right? Like you really did know. You're like, is it this or is it that?
But admit that, right? Because when we were going back and forth the first time, I could have sworn we landed on one, but then the second time you said, no, it's the other. And in my head, I must have just mixed it up.
And we're just talking through it, right?
Exactly.
We're afforded that luxury on the show.
But I'm not asking the player himself, hey, how do you say your last name? I'm not going to do that. And I would never, I would never purposely try. Like if I was talking to DK, I would never say, we're speaking to Danny Kayline if I didn't know that what his last name is. Right. Like I would make sure I had that before I said it. So I'd call him DK.
Like you always, like you ask about our guests sometimes if they're new. Hey, how do you say such and such?
And even repeated guests. Like even today, I'm like, hey, we have our horse racing expert on who he's up next, Anthony
Big A?
Stabile.
Yeah.
And I had to compare that to Cruella DeVille for me to remember it's Stabile.
Okay.
But I asked that before I say
So Holly got under your skin last night.
So there was just a moment, and she's talking to Jordy, last question, and she brought up where Jordy came from. And she mispronounced Papelon. She said, Jordy, what are the people back in Papelon thinking right now? And I'm watching Jordy's reaction because it's not zoomed in on Holly.
I went to schools with Papelon. I went to school with Papelon.
And she's Jordy's kind of nodding along. She smiles and she goes, Papelon. Under her breath, she goes, Papelon. And then at the very end of the question, Holly goes back and says, Papelon. Mm-hmm. And then Jordy, because she's a professional, just says, oh, I kind of I hope I made people proud and I love representing Nebraska. You know how you get around this whole thing? Instead of saying the town name, how about you just say, how about the people back in Nebraska? How to pronounce Nebraska.
There you go with your principles again. So you're mad at Holly because she said Papelon.
Papelon, man. Get it right. Know what you're saying before you do it.
Oh, shoot.
Get it right. And I know I misspeak, but at least I own it. Today, Cody goes, hey, who are some people to watch out for in the passing league? And I was about to say, man, I haven't even gotten a chance to go out there yet.
Yeah.
And so that's just me being honest. And people would appreciate that more than me just making something up or at least trying to act like I know what I'm doing. Right. So when you're asking a question, and this is just a life thing. If you don't want to sound dumb, if you want to be taken seriously,
keep it brief,
keep it easy.
You
right?
Very hurt right now.
Don't ask a question that is not going to solicit a good answer. Really think through your questions. Don't be easy. Get something out of it that nobody else would get. But in the same light, make sure you get it right.
Oh man!
Because messing up a town name is literally messing up a name.
Don't these guys have fact checkers?
Well, Papelion's pretty easy to sound out, I think. Like if it was Exarban, I'd get it. I'd be like, what the heck? Like when I first went to UNO and I found out it was Nebraska spelled backwards, I'm like, who the heck did this? But I kind of like it, but I didn't try to like sound it out. I didn't say Exarban. Like no, like people are like, no, it's Exarban.
Exarban.
Yeah.
I can't even say it.
You know
wrong.
what's really funny? Is the smallest things make you so mad sometimes.
It's great.
It's hilarious, right?
Well, and of course, you know, I go on Twitter right away and I'm like, shout out Papelon. Shout out Papelon.
You're wild.
Nah, I don't know. It's just how I feel. I needed a little like therapeutic session here, so I had to talk. I had to talk it out.
I had one of those about the Big Ten, right? Either we're going to be capitalists or we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out. Stop catering it to. I still got to ask my mom where she got that soap from. That thing had to be about 17 pounds. No, I'm serious. She probably doesn't know how to like take a picture and send it to me, but it is massive.
You know, it's funny.
And that was the soapbox that I was on this morning.
Is it something I can stand on?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
It's funny you say she probably doesn't know how to take a picture and send it because when I was back home over the weekend, my grandma came over for dinner.
Yeah.
And she always is like trying to find ways to listen to the show, but she doesn't have it as easy as my mom because she can't just say, hey, Alexa, play blah, blah, blah. Or my mom knows how to get to YouTube.
Yeah.
My grandma doesn't.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm trying to show her, but like when you get on YouTube, it's difficult to like, you have to know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Go to the top bar, type in Hail Varsity Radio, Hurrdat Sports, Coffee and Cream, whatever it is. And then you actually have to go to the live page and then click on it. Unless you do that when we're on, right? Because if you just go to the page, it'll say live. It'll just be the first link.
Are you guys going?
But when we're not on.
Did I tell you the story of me trying to walk my mom through how to forward me an email?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You did.
I was going to lose my mind.
So I had to, this is what I did for my grandma. I pulled up the page, didn't delete it on her phone. Because you know how like when you close out a bunch of tabs, it just kind of goes away completely. But if you leave them open, you can just go back and hop right on. She didn't have the YouTube app, nor did she know her app store password. So I had to do it all on Safari. And I had it all loaded up for her. So hopefully she's catching up with us right now. I don't know for sure. She would probably text me, and my grandma's the best texter because she's like a 13-year-old girl where she abbreviates everything.
Yeah.
Like instead of saying love, L-O-V-E, she'll put L-U-V. Instead of saying F-O-R, she'll do the number 4. That's my grandma.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. It drives me bonkers.
I know. I'm such a let's just write it out.
Yeah,
passive
aggressive. Kind of like my man Buford.
Anthony Stabile up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
And they're into the stretch. National Treasure taken on by Blazing Sevens. Means wanders inside. Still work to do with him. National Treasure digging in. Blazing Sevens. Means is third. National Treasure. It's Blazing Sevens putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it going to be? It's going to be National Treasure. John Velasquez gets his Preakness.
Well, we won't have a Triple Crown winner this year, but that doesn't mean you still can't enjoy the Belmont Stakes. Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers. Happy to have you back. 590 ESPN Radio here in Omaha, live on Twitter, live on YouTube. And I know my mom, my dad, and my sister are currently watching us on YouTube. She's in a hospital bed right now, about to give birth today. So
congratulations.
Prayers to her and
Post Malone.
Hopefully everything is healthy with her and the baby. So again, praying for Shannon today. But I'm also praying for my sports bets to hit this weekend, and maybe my horse, because I've been a little hoarse with my bets lately.
I'm going to check in with my mom here when we get done with Big A. See what she's got.
Anthony Stabile, horse racing expert, here with us now. The Big A Stabile on Twitter. What's up, man?
Andrew, I hope you hit your bets this weekend, especially if you play the same horses that I bet on. Maybe this kid could get a real gift. I heard you treat quarters like manhole covers. Is that true?
I like to tip my dealer.
Good, that's good to know. Tip your dealers, bartenders, and waitresses.
Yeah,
please.
that's a T-shirt.
The
manhole covers. You've been sitting on that one, Big A. Why is this trio of races been? It seems like it's been pretty hard to cap. Like, what is going on?
The Derby's always tough, and then the Preakness was just. I mean, if we're being completely honest, the people that want to move the Triple Crown, boy, this is Exhibit A. That Preakness was just god awful. Mm-hmm. You didn't even have me on. I would have been insulted in another year.
Shane hasn't called. Listen, it snuck up on us, and then I forgot, and I didn't want to do it last minute. So, because I was gone on that Friday, and I was like, poop. I feel like this thing just snuck up on us.
Yeah, because it didn't really do much. It didn't move the needle. This is no exaggeration, I'd probably bet the least amount of money on a Triple Crown race in 30 years.
Wow.
That I did that Preakness. Yeah, it was just I had no real opinion. I thought Mage was going to be tough, and he just didn't fire off the 2 weeks. And Baffert's second choice, and I didn't like that horse either. It was not a good race. Thankfully, this race is a little bit more top heavy, and I think there are some horses in here that are going to be okay, especially going forward.
Yeah, these are Kentucky Derby-like horses. You have Forte, who got scratched, didn't run in the Derby. You have Tapit Trice, who underwhelmed with his run. Angel of Empire also here.
A lot of people like Hit Show.
Yeah, that's another one too. But the first two I listed, Tapit Trice and Forte, both back in the Belmont, both favorites to win the race. When it comes to the odds making, what attributes about these two horses gives odds makers so much confidence this time around?
Well, the morning line odds maker at Naira is a kid named David Aragona. It was pretty good. This race, I don't think, was very tough to make a morning line. So Tapit Trice, his father or sire, Tapit, his offspring have won 4 Belmont Stakes. So obviously a lot of people will hone in on Tapit Trice. People will talk about him winning the Belmont back in January. And now he gets here, and it's a 9-horse field. And Todd Pletcher, his trainers, Hall of Fame trainers, had a fantastic record in the Test of the Champion in prior years. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for him to be one of the choices. And then Forte, your 2-year-old champion, morning line favorite for the Derby, forced to scratch. I'll tell you what, I didn't pick Forte on top. I'm one of the throngs that I absolutely love Hit Show tomorrow. And we'll
okay, so a lot of people.
Not just you.
Okay, I got to hear this.
But to finish Forte, I don't doubt he's the best horse in the race. His pedigree doesn't tell you, his breeding doesn't tell you that he's going to want 1.5 miles. A lot of people were skeptical of him going 1.25 miles. But the funny thing is, sometimes it's easier to go 1.5 miles than it is to go 1.25 miles, just the way the dynamics of the race shape up. So, with that said, I have a ton of respect for him, and I put him second. I put Tapit Trice third because I was underwhelmed, and I think that's the word Andrew used in the intro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was so worried about the kid not getting a fair shake on a gift when he's born that I kind of forgot. He underwhelmed me. So my success in the Belmont Stakes is pretty good. It's pretty. I have a pretty high record, a pretty good record in the Belmont Stakes. The Belmont Stakes, the key to the Belmont Stakes is the Kentucky Derby. And you just go and watch the replay. I watched the replay 12 times this week before finalizing my pick. And if you watch Tapit Trice, he never really did much. He had a pretty underwhelming trip. Whereas if you watch Hit Show leaves from post 1, which hasn't had a winner since Ferdinand in 1986. He leaves from post 1. Manny Franco, his rider, who's based here in New York with me. We don't ride together anymore. I quit riding about 12, 15 years ago. Manny Franco had to ride him to maintain position along the inside. And then about a half mile into the race, he was able to move him outside. But they were going so fast that he had to continue to ride him aggressively, to keep him in position. And then he wound up 4 or 5 wide on the far turn. He actually was right with the first 2 horses off the far turn. And then finally, with 1/8 of a mile to go, he got tired. So a lot of people would look at it and say, how's he going to go 1.5 miles? He ran really hard, guys, the whole way. That's not going to be the case tomorrow. He's got 2 or 3 speed horses that are going to go. He'll work out a better trip. And his last 2 post positions have been terrible. He drew the rail in the Kentucky Derby, which is a death knell. And he drew the far outside post here at Aqueduct in the Wood Memorial. And there's hardly 1/8 of a mile run into the first turn. So he's coming off 2 terrible posts, off of really good efforts. He's been improving with every start for Brad Cox and won the race 2 years ago with Essential Quality. Manny won the race 3 years ago when it was a weird Belmont Stakes, 9 furlongs, first leg of the Triple Crown with Tis of the Law. I just think he makes a lot of sense, and he's a hell of a price on the morning line, 10-1. I don't think he'll be that high. I think he'll be closer to 7 or 8-1, but he still offers more value than either of the 2 Pletcher horses and the other Brad Cox horse, Angel of Empire.
All right, Big A. So it's kind of weird, right? It's a small field, and you've got 4, maybe 5 if Hit Show comes down. For sure, 5-1 or less, right? Depending on Hit Show, maybe 7-1. That seems kind of snug, a little tight for such a small field. Is that more difficult, or is it easier to win money with like a trifecta if you figure you can't go wrong?
Look, I don't like Tappet Shoes, Archangelo, National Treasure, Red Route 1. I would not be surprised. The only horse that would surprise me in this field would be Il Miracolo. It would literally be in there.
See, I like the speed of him, though.
Hence the 30-1.
I like the speed.
But it's
last?
It's the long race.
I know the longevity, yeah. But I think he's going to come out of the gates pretty fast.
If they let me jump in at the half-mile pole, I'd beat him home from the half-mile pole. I'm not worried about Il Miracolo, believe me. But the
who's that donkey out there on the last leg?
The other four that I don't like, Tappet Shoes, Archangelo, National Treasure, and Red Route 1, I would not be surprised if they won this race. I don't think they will. And I do feel like it's a little bit more top heavy than a lot of handicappers do. But it wouldn't stun me. I wouldn't be overwhelmed for sure if those horses won. So yes, the fact that this bet, they're going to bet this Archangelo, who's won his last two. He's by the late great Arrogate. He'll take some money. He won the Peter Pan for this. The Peter Pan's had some success. Most recently, my boy Tonalist back in 2014, he won the Peter Pan and then came back to win the Belmont Stakes. But there's been 4 or 5 horses in the last 30 years that have used the Peter Pan as a springboard to the Belmont, which is a pretty high number when you consider the Triple Crown horses usually come out of these races and win them. 5 for a horse that didn't run in the Triple Crown is a pretty good fig. But an Angel of Empire is going to take some money. But yeah, there's going to be a throng of horses between 3-1 and 6-1. Probably 6 horses between 3-1, maybe 5 horses between 3-1 and 6-1. Then Hit Show. See, I think Hit Show's going to take a lot of money. He's a little bit of a wise guy pick. I don't like that aspect of him, but I'm not one of these people that's going to shy away from it because other people do.
So why
I'm not one to follow. But I'm also not going to jump off ship because a lot of people like it.
Okay,
I know a lot of people do, right? If everybody's going to bet the Bengals, you come back and bet the Browns. That's a sports gambler's mentality. Everybody can't be right. Everybody can't be right.
Yeah, bet with Vegas.
So
it's a little different now.
Why wouldn't it be advantageous, Big A, to grab Hit Show now if you're going to, considering you're getting the best price?
If you can get 10-1 now, I don't dabble in that world. It's a very, very harsh, long, torturous story that involves Mike Vandejat and leaping, that we don't bet sports or dabble in that world anymore.
Idiot kickers, right? That's what Peyton Manning
said. It wasn't the kicker. No, they called Warren Sapp for leaping.
Yeah.
Vandejat missed. They called Warren Sapp for leaping. And I owed somebody a lot of money the following weekend. It wasn't FanDuel. So we don't do that anymore. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you could lock Hit Show in at 10-1 right now, you're giving them 34 hours to hold your money post time 702. You're giving them 34, 33 hours to hold your money, but you're probably going to get 2 or 3 extra points. That's up to you. That's up to you. I'd be happy to get 10-1 right now. I think he has a big chance.
Big A, quickly, real fast. How much do you think the air quality could matter in a race like this? Do you think it's going to matter at all?
Nah, it's fine here. I tell you what, I think they did the right thing canceling yesterday, but they could have run yesterday. If this was 40 years ago, they would have run.
Interesting.
But there's so much going on in racing now that they had to kind of err on the side of caution. They did the right thing. I'm not saying they didn't do the right thing yesterday. They did do the right thing. But they could have run. I mean, if yesterday was the Belmont Stakes, they would have run the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah, good to know. Anthony Stabile, we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, Big A.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
Sautter up next.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Mike Sautter.
I would agree, Damon.
Mike Sautter.
Yeah.
Mike Sautter.
Oh, man, you're going to put me on the spot.
Mike Sautter.
Well, it's that time, 9 o'clock on a Friday. What does that mean? Well, it means Mike Sauter's in the chair, and he sits down with us now, Coffee and Cream in the morning on Hail Varsity Radio, powered by Currency. Damon Benning, Andrew Rogers, and there he is, Mike Sautter via StreamYard. You can catch us on the video or
Hi, Jerome.
on the radio, 590 ESPN Omaha. What's up?
I only have one ear for some reason.
No, that's kind
It's every day right now.
This is kind of how it goes. Although I'm back.
You have both?
Yeah.
Ooh, lucky duck, I don't.
It's very odd, but that's okay.
Is it just your right ear or the opposing ear of where your mic stick
over
is?
Here. Yeah. Interesting.
Just listen to mono, you'll be fine.
It feels like I'm deaf in one ear. Could have worse problems. It's okay.
It's good. You're healing nicely, man. Walking kind of fast.
Walking a little faster.
Yeah, I'm walking. Sick.
Walking a little more normal.
The yard looked nice.
My yard looks really
Yeah, why'd you mow like 3 days after surgery?
Because I wanted to.
And you had you missed your regular mow.
Yeah, because I normally normally like a Monday or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, one of those days. Normally Monday, and then I missed it. So because I had surgery on Monday, so I'm like, well, I gotta get this done.
So would you have paid somebody to mow your lawn or no? Because you're kind of particular.
And he's cheap.
No,
I think it's more the particular thing.
It's more cheap.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Probably a little bit of both, but no. No, I enjoy mowing. I limped around, mow my yard. Actually, yesterday I got on I have a 6-foot ladder. I wish I had a 12-foot ladder. but I have a 6-foot ladder, and I cleaned out the little whirly bird things.
Andrew and I just had this discussion. I've got to probably take a look at that because my neighbor has those propellers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like slowly limping up the ladder and making
I'm not getting up there.
Yeah, it's a 6-foot ladder, it's no big deal.
My gutters were caked in those helicopters.
Yeah, you gotta clean those out, man.
I just did. That's how I knew.
No big deal.
I was like, what are you doing?
Dude is wild.
You can't leave that in there.
Thanks, Dad.
Hey, can we go back to the locker room camp? What did you see?
Nothing. Sorry, before you finished, it was terrible.
Wow, how do you really feel?
It wasn't great.
Explain.
I mean, it just wasn't.
So it was North Central and
then on the other side it was Ralston, Burke, and Westview. And it's not knocking those kids or anything. It's just,
I've watched in Westview on they were our 7-on-7 opponent yesterday.
It just isn't. It isn't. I didn't get a lot out of it. Normally from that event, I'll write something like, "Oh, these people, this kid," and I just did. I'm like, I'm not gonna.
How was your conversation with Pyfrom?
He was not there. He was in Nebraska.
So Terry nor Pyfrom performed, right?
Yeah, so that takes two,
But you still have a young Prince.
Yeah, it was fine. Like
Newsom.
Yeah, Newsom and Prince. Central's has a chance to be pretty good.
Everybody says that. I mean,
Said has a chance. I mean, I'm not like locking.
They've got good skill.
Their skill is really good. Like, I mean, they're talented. It's a matter of keeping it together, right? So they're definitely talented, and quarterback is not a question, but it's more like what is how does that look, and
how was Circo?
He was fine. He made one really nice throw.
What about Champ?
Champ was all right. Played more corner, I thought. Glassman is
Titus.
Yeah. Titan.
Titus. I think
it's pretty sure it's Titan Glass.
Is it?
Yeah. Regardless, it's a sweet name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he looks a lot bigger.
He played young. It was kind of baptism by fire.
Yeah, he looks a lot bigger for North. So I think North.
And this is his second year in the program, right?
Yeah,
because he came over from Burke 2 years ago. Yeah.
So I think, the one question I have with North is who's gonna play running back. They don't know yet.
Yeah.
Now, hey, Omaha North, they always got a running back. You ain't got to worry about that. They'll find one.
Typically.
Coach Tapp does a great job with running backs. So they'll find a running back. And their line's big enough. They're always going to have big linemen. It's just I guess I went to their practice, and then at the actual scrimmage too, they had a little trouble running the ball. So, but again, Terry wasn't there, and he's going to be the starting center. So that matters probably. I mean, he's going to play on the interior line.
So we had Nebraska.
Remember when he was a tight end? Remember when people thought that was cool? Yeah.
We had Nebraska Cody call in this morning, and since you attended the majority of these 7-on-7s and passing camps, he had asked, like, who are some names that are like off-ball names that you wouldn't normally think of that are going to have a big season?
Guys you don't.
Yeah, guys. About? Yeah. What about like?
Yeah, I
guys
thought,
like that. Who stuck out to you?
Wednesday when I was at Millard South and Bellevue West, I thought Nolan Feller had a really good day.
I like him.
Like a really good day. Corner, he knocked the ball down in the end zone, and he can catch the ball. He's quick. He's kind of stocky.
Let me tell you something.
Millard South running back.
Been a fan of that kid since middle school, right?
Yeah.
He's a Junior Patriots guy. They beat Little Vikes in the championship, and I kind of felt like it was his toughness. It was terrible weather. It was freezing. Our kids kind of folded a little, and he just thrived. And he's good. It's my buddy's nephew.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance to have a really nice year.
And I think he's flying under the radar a little bit. How about Millard South at the quarterback spot? Because I think you're in agreement with me. I say this every week.
Yeah.
Underappreciated in the recruiting world.
I think people are paying attention now, though.
Well, it's only been, maybe. Because you would put that. Would you put them in the top? They're in the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. Yeah.
Oh,
but they don't get talked about enough. So let's just kind of super early on this, but you go like West Side, Bell West, Elkhorn South. That's 3. Just names.
See,
off
I
the top of
think
my head.
I think
I'm not-
Millard
I'm not
South
saying-
and Gretna are there too.
I'm not saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nothing like that. I'm not ranking them. I'm just throwing names out. So I think Millard South is in there. Gretna's still going to be good.
Millard North's got to be good, don't they?
Thank you. So I said this. Gosh, who was I talking to the other day? Somebody, I forget.
They got good
was,
personnel.
It was maybe yesterday even. I said, it might have been my wife. And I said,
well, she ain't listening to you.
No, never. And I said, I think Millard North probably has a chance to be pretty good this year.
I'm
just because those young, they played all those guys young, and now they're what, juniors?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think they might be like kind of back-ish, right? Where you really got to worry about it. You had to worry about them anyway, but like I think they got a chance.
They have good personnel.
Yeah, I think Millard South is one, man. Like they're going to be. I said it when Coach Wisdom was hired 2 years ago or before last year. I said it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go really, really well, or it's going to go bad. Like there isn't really a middle, and it's trending really hard to the really well. He is demanding, and his offense is a little different. It is
kinda.
It is I said this to Coach Huffman the other day. I said he reminds me of an 8 years ago Michael Huffman.
Totally. I said that to Schaefer. I not say when Schaefer said, I go, the funny thing is they're kind of the same person.
Right. Like same personality.
Like, doesn't care.
Schaefer was kind of like, really? Like
I'm
you're
like,
gonna compare somebody to Huff?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
they're kind of the same
doesn't
person.
really care what you think about him.
Nope.
And is gonna do what he does, and also is pretty vocal. And hey, if kids want to come to his school, he's gonna make it happen.
Hey, how are you capping
to come to their school too?
I just saw a picture of Ingerson the other day at 7-on-7, and I showed it to Andrew, and I've obviously seen Bert up close, and then there's Carter Nelson, and there's Stein, and I'm missing another good tight end.
Tanner Hollinger is one.
Those were kind of the four, though.
Hollinger, the 8-man. I mean, he's got UAB offer. He's got like 13 offers right now.
Who am I missing?
How do you get into because Bert and Ingerson look like the more prototypicals.
They're more. I will say that I feel confident in saying that they're more inline guys, or will be
inline tight ends, like traditional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah, that's why they look like that. I mean, they're big, strong, and stuff.
Ingerson looked amazing.
Yeah. And you throw him out.
He looked cut.
One, he'll be able to block and all that stuff, and then two, like he's red zone threat. Like no one's gonna jump up with that guy.
Yeah, 6'7".
Well, they'll jump up. I don't know if they're getting the ball.
Kind of like Davon Hall, but anyway.
So, were you surprised that Millard South had good success?
Yeah. Okay. I absolutely do not care who wins a passing league quote. Air quotes here, game. It's not a game. It's a practice. People are rotating quarterbacks and rotating players.
Yeah, it's reps.
It's not a game. There's no referees. There's no pads on. It doesn't mean anything. You can't win a state championship. There's nothing to do with winning on a Wednesday in June that really translates to November. So I need to get that off my chest because yes, hey, Millard South scored more touchdowns than Bellevue West on Wednesday at Passing League that I was at. Do I care? Will I tweet that out? Will I say, oh my God, this happened? Absolutely not. I don't care. Hey, Millard South dads on Twitter, if you want to come at me for saying not
they're
sharing,
the worst.
I'm like, for not saying what really happened that day or whatever, don't care. I absolutely don't care. And I'm raising my voice a little bit because I've taken a lot of heat in the last 36 hours for not sharing what actually happened in the game. It wasn't a game. I don't care. I like Millard South. I've said it all year, all off season. I think they're going to be really good. I think they have talent. I think they're going to be real good. I don't hate Millard South. I don't not like their kids. I don't think that they're terrible athletes. None of that is true.
If it's not Nolan or Ty, I'm not vouching for the rest of those guys because they drive me up the wall.
And I have very good relationships.
I mean, between trying to bag all the little league titles, I'm like, guys, I get it, and you're going to be.
I have really good relationship with Ty Wisdom.
But Ty and Nolan, those are my guys. So I'll vouch for those guys. The rest of those guys, I don't really know like that.
I have really good relationship with Ty Wisdom. I really do. Nolan, I talk to all the time. When his kid played, when his daughter played softball, like all that, like goes deep.
I feel like this is an Andrew moment.
Like I did have one of these moments at 8:30.
The heat that I took from sharing a video of a kid literally going up and catching the ball over another person.
It's just a cool
from
play.
Bellevue, it's just a cool play. Like the heat that I took from that from people is absurd. Like it is crazy. Like calm down.
Okay.
Like it's June 7th.
I like to be objective, and I like all these high schools, so I don't want to go all in on anybody. So Andrew and I were talking about this. When's our meeting? The other day.
Wednesday.
Okay, Wednesday, of the long one. So you had a lot of information coming back from there, and when you showed me, you go, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna leave this out of the interview.
The video of DA.
I'm gonna leave this out. Like I can't believe Hall said this. Did you know that people were gonna take and run with that? Like, would you have just done your thing anyway if you would have known that?
Yeah, if I would have known that, I probably would have done my thing. Done it anyway.
Right.
I was trying to protect the kid.
And that's what I said on Thursday, because I said Sautter had the information and like he had every right to post it because Hall said it so candidly.
Super mature, by the way, about
right. But I said
he really was.
I said you care more about protecting the player versus being first to the punch.
Yeah, I wanted to protect him in that moment.
Because he just was flat out. He's like, yeah, they told me.
He told me on Wednesday in the interview that I did. I mean, I still have the raw version of it. I'm talking to Davon Hall here, Bellevue West wide receiver. He told me on Wednesday, he said his exact words were, yeah, last night, and this is on the record. He said, yeah, last night Nebraska called me and said that they're not going to recruit me anymore. And I said, oh. I was like, I didn't know.
Right.
A little taken aback.
Well, yeah, because we've been talking about and recruiting pieces have been talking about Davon Hall and connection to Nebraska, in-state kid. That's big news. It comes out of nowhere.
And the more that like I'm around this, and I said this to Drew Don the other day, and it's a little unfair. I get it, right? Like, okay, it's a little unfair. Like I could just have talked to, Tressel Jr. or Woods or somebody, and I'll know what they think about a kid, and then I'll know what I read locally, and I'm like, I don't think that's very accurate, right? So I know that this thing is hard to gauge because it's recruiting, but I think there are very few people I think that have a good pulse on what Nebraska's actually after and what they truly want. Do you kind of feel like that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it
because just a week ago I kept hearing Paul's a sleeper. He's flying under the radar, and I'm like, there's some no, and this isn't disrespect to Hall because I think he's listen, dude's way good, right? He said, but something was disjointed, and a lot of these guys recruiting. It's not just him,
right?
He just was the one that made the news the last couple of days because he was open. But there's a lot of guys I think like that where if you ask them about the attention they're getting versus not getting, they would probably say the same thing. They just haven't said anything yet. Because I think Nebraska is very self-aware of where to put their time and resources.
That's fair.
Right? That's about as good as I can say that.
I just think it goes back to, I had this conversation in the office yesterday with David, who was great, and he did not care, but he was listening.
He's just nodding his head.
You're just venting to somebody again.
No, it wasn't venting. Right. It was he did care, but it goes back to relationships and knowing what you're reporting on / the information you're getting and trust and all of those things. Like from it like Nebraska is so far out on Eric Ingerson right now.
Why did you use him as well? I think Ingerson's out on Nebraska.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I mean. Like they're not. It's not. No matter, there's been reports.
No matter how you write it up,
there's been reports of like literal, like, reporting. Like
some of that stuff was just made up.
Typed up stuff about that, and it's like without going to the actual source. Like, try talking to a kid or a parent or the actual coach, like something like that. Without that, like how do you feel comfortable? Like,
where are you going with this? Like, you think it's just, it paints the kids in a bad light?
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, it puts them in a tough spot.
Oh, I got you.
Or are you just thinking like somebody's going for clicks?
No, I don't. I never want to say that. Well, there are things out there that are that, but like, I never want to say that and put that on people. But it's just like, just do a little more homework. Just if you have one person tell you, I always go with it's kind of like 2-step authentication on your email. Like, get 2. Don't just go with one that won't be named.
Dude, right? I hate that, because every time they ask me if I want to do this again, I say no.
And then you wait for them to text you a code,
right?
So that you can end up getting into your email,
or whatever. But I think you should just, I don't know. I work really hard to build really strong relationships with people, and that is more important to me than anything that I do with my job, is the relationship part.
So what bugged me a couple weeks ago is I don't think people understand. It's not damage, but if people are counting on you, like, not everybody knows how to watch film, not everybody is at every high school game, so you try to surround yourself with people that are supposed to know. And I just think that those guys and gals just ought to take it a little, like,
go farther, go deeper.
Yeah, because so many people are counting on you, and because now there's a lot of players that like develop opinions, and sometimes, like, if they just would like get in a room and talk about it, like, hey, why'd you say this, or why do you do this, or why do you say this about me? Because you can't really get into that, because you don't want to go around chasing ghosts. But I think the local guys would be a lot more receptive to giving out information if they just felt like you had their best interest at heart. But sometimes it's because I just hear these. That's why I was upset a couple weeks ago. I'm like, wow, some of these guys are just really. And
they're doing it for them and not for the kids.
Yes. And sometimes the byproduct of that is the players being recruited. They have to come back and answer for it.
Right.
Well, that's another reason.
Then they're getting a call.
Yeah, they have to come back and answer for it. And it's like, you guys, man, I don't know.
Well, that's another reason why yesterday, when we were seeing the 25 crew tweets going out.
About you were mad.
About a certain athlete.
Which hasn't even happened yet.
But see,
that's been 2 days. Like, you put that kid in a bad spot.
Well, not just that.
I agree with him on
For me, it was let the kid announce it. Like, it's his moment.
Well, they didn't say anything.
Right. But I'm not saying, but there's.
Oh, you mean the speculation and where everybody, because everybody did put 2 and 2 together, right?
Everybody takes it somewhere.
Well, there's only.
I know.
Right. Yeah. And so that's why I'm just like, guys, you said best interest of the kids. Like, that's something to keep in mind all the time.
They're working on it.
I know, but now you're at like 36 hours ish where you're just in, like, it ain't good to do that. Just let the kid do it first, and then you can do that if you're the coach. That's just my opinion. I agree with Andrew on this.
What'd you ask me yesterday with the 3 athletes in 2024? Because I think that'd be a good point for Sautter. You said,
so knowing what you know today, who do you think, or if Nebraska had their druthers and they're not playing if they just had their druthers, guys that we think can help us out, that we really want, who do you think is in Nebraska's top 3? And you don't even have to give me the order.
Ooh, wow.
Because I think you know a few who isn't.
Just in general.
People, like just in general.
Because I didn't add one name to the list that was already on the list. I don't want to, you probably could use.
I think Pyfrom's very high on their list.
I had him on my list too.
Okay.
24. I think Caleb is high on their list, or else he wouldn't have been there today.
Oh, was that?
I'm just throwing it out. I mean,
okay.
I think that's just 2 and 2 together. I don't know anything. We haven't talked about it. I feel like Carter Nelson's not so much right now, because I feel like he's going to Georgia.
See, I still had him on my list.
Who do you think the three are, though? Because I'm just fact finding. I'm just asking people, like, because I'm not saying I know. I'm just saying, like, I hear you processing out loud.
Yeah, I'm really like.
Wouldn't you? This is me, and I don't want to ask.
Well, Danny Kaelin.
See, that's for me. Like, I would think you go back and get him because is that Vrzal?
Mm-hmm.
You go back and get him because you want him, not because you have to have him, because he's not helping you this year anyway.
No.
Right? Don't you? Like, you probably really want that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about him when I gave my list.
They want him
because he was already there.
Like our 7-on-7 tournament, which by the way is at Millard South next week on the 22nd and 23rd. Is that next week?
Yeah, he'll be. I'm pretty sure he'll be ready to roll.
He is there. So the 23rd is that official visit weekend thing, and like Huffman's a little like, I need to know times because like they want Danny down there. I'm like, I know, but like I'm not gonna worry about my.
He's got some other guys he can get ready.
Well, yeah, I guess he's got this quarterback that transferred that's supposed to be God's gifted quarterback.
You guys are funny. We look at it from, because it bothered you and it bothered him, and I always try to rationalize in my head. It's like, well, guys and gals got to do their job too. But is it hard just to get a hold of kids and talk to them?
Nowadays, it's a little harder.
Is it?
A little. For some reason, it's a little hard.
I would think it'd be easier because you could just DM a kid.
Well, see, kid, they're so particular and bothered now by stuff. I tell people, I told this to 20 kids in the last 5 weeks. Stop reading if you don't like those guys. Just keep receipts.
Yeah, just don't even let it bother you. How about that? Like that works. And I hear the music, so I can keep going. But I'm not. Oh, Ashton Murphy's the other one.
I put him up there because I think he's going to be pretty good.
Vrzal up next. Thanks, Mike.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 5 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream with Rogers and Benning on Hail Varsity Radio.
As we await our next guest, I'd like to take a moment and tell you about Dingman's Collision Center. Dingman's is the place to go to take your car if you have an issue with it. And that's not like if you have a personal issue. It's more, hey, my car has an issue and I need that taken care of. If you have a personal issue, you call somebody else, which I will tell you about in a moment. But Dingman's is the place to go if you need an oil change, if you pop a tire and you need 4 new ones like I needed the other day, if you have some engine trouble, if you actually have damage to the body of your vehicle, they can help fix your car up, make it look brand new. And plus, they're going to be the nicest people when you walk in their doors. Dingman's has 4 locations. Go check them out. Shane just keeps dropping.
He's got some issues.
Dropping glass. Shane, with your car, have you had any issues yet? Have you had to take your car to Dingman's?
If I have issues, I've got answers. And my answers are to go to Dingman's.
Dingman's Collision Center, dingmans.com. Now, if you have a personal issue, as I said, DB, who do you call?
I got to call Dyer Law, man. I mean, I got to visit Dyer.law. I got to hang out with the folks at Dyer
and
Law.
You've got it memorized.
Well, and I only tell people that because sometimes if you can't, you know, hit them on the website. It's super easy. It's just like 393-7529. And it's like, hey, how may we help you? And a couple of my friends, and he hasn't gotten back to me. And I told him too. I said, hey, I hope you're feeling okay. Like, you obviously survived because you're texting me. Like, keep me in the loop on how it's going. And it's like, yeah, I think it's because I asked him for a $15 lunch if they take good care of him.
It was only $15.
Dude, we always cap it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
When are we going to get lunch?
I don't know. Probably next week. Just hang out.
Let's chill, eat
just
some lunch.
Kind of just stick around.
Not that we don't do that ever.
we gotta invite one of my guys, Dan.
Dan O? The seasoning guy?
No. Who Dodgers Yankees 1-1 in the 9th. 2-1 Yankees final.
Yeah, I remember this this little sidebar.
I wonder if they'll still have the pesto chicken next week. They swap it out every week, but I wonder what the pizza special will be.
Yeah, you're a big pizza guy here.
No. Well, yes. I like the creativity. I'm not what I would call. I wouldn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't say like a pizza guy, but the cool thing about
you talk about it a lot.
Yeah, because their crust is not. It's just like
their crust is different.
Yeah, it's just chill. It's like going to. I like it because it's like Paisans, right? It's not overly saucy. You can do it kind of the way you want. It's not just about.
I like the crust.
Red
that you
sauce
have to rip,
and meat, right?
You got to rip it when you bite down into it.
Yeah, the place that we went to that we got food from for my mom that she likes, that didn't sit well with your boy. That was the problem with their crust. They shall remain nameless.
Have you ever had? I think LeBron started this company, or is at least a majority
Taco
owner
Tuesday.
in it.
How about them spinning him into doing commercials for Taco Bell? The guy that wanted to trademark Taco Tuesdays, they've made that a bit now.
He started Blaze Pizza, which I think you can get down in Kansas City.
I don't know. Can you?
I think so. I know you can get.
But
it up in
everybody
Chicago.
said that's where all his I guess he's killed it in the business industry.
You like similar pizzas to me. That's a pizza you'd love. Blaze Pizza.
Really?
Make note of it. Next time you're in KC for a basketball tournament, try Blaze Pizza.
Actually, the weekend of the 23rd.
Gotta go to Blaze.
I got to speak
Is
to
it hot?
that night. Huh?
Is it hot?
Like
blazing?
Should I hear it from Dirk?
Oh, nice. I wasn't even prepared for that. That was pretty good.
And they're hot.
Thank you, Dirk.
How about him not wanting to come and talk to us? I'm kind of disappointed in DC.
Yeah, and he probably would have had a lot of spirited.
Do you know what it is though? He's total. He's like Shane's tires, just totally low pro now.
It was tough.
Super low profile. He is just not. And he was never really comfortable doing it. He just did it because I think we've got friends in the business,
right?
But to his credit, man, he kind of likes to stay behind the scenes and fly under the radar. Do we have any idea what we're doing with Vrzal? Listen. So he sends me a text.
By the way, sometimes I can kind
His
of
lights are off.
I can kind of persuade a guest to come on.
Yeah.
Dirk is just too smart for me. There's no way.
Yeah, he is a genius.
Yeah.
That guy's got to be like.
He would see right through me
IQ.
even before I started with that. So
yeah, but
he ends up being right. And then what'd you just show me on Twitter with the cameras, the guys knowing during the announcement on the tour? Like, is this just good for? Are we just drumming up business?
Hey, I'm gonna watch.
Are we just drumming up business?
Maybe.
Do you feel as though you shouldn't have been as mad at me on Monday with the whole loyalty principle?
No,
because Rory came around in a hurry.
Yeah, but I don't think other PGA players like that. He may have come around, but the other 199 were not on board.
They like money.
Yeah, and that's what they said. They said if you take care of me for being loyal, we're talking about something different. But as of right now, nothing's come out with, hey, outside of Rory and Tiger, maybe nothing's come out with, hey, I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
All right. What about the small fries? Who could have actually made?
What if the number is actually real that Tiger turned down?
Yeah, 800 mil is a lot of money.
Seems like a lot,
but if you are Tiger Woods, I mean, I've never had over 800 mil to my name to begin with. So does he need 800 more? Like,
I always hate asking people that question.
Right? Would we even be having this conversation if this was if this exact thing was going to happen, but it was like 12 years ago, like 2010, like right in the middle of Tiger, right when Tiger's at his prime, when he was the PGA.
No, he'd be telling the PGA what to do. He would be the one breaking the news. Remember how bad he treated Hootie? Well, he told Hootie what he could do.
In the Blowfish?
Pretty much. He told him he could
yes, sir.
blow off.
GTFO.
Yes. Yeah, Tiger used to run the show. But can I just land the plane here? So my man sends me a text.
There's a Blaze Pizza on Lincoln. Side note.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what our good friend on YouTube just said on Q Street.
So he says, hey, something came up on the quarter hour. I need to go 9:30. Okay. 2 seconds later, dude whips in the parking lot and backs in a lot. We go out there. He waves
you off.
He waves me off with his sunglasses. Like he takes them off and is like, carry on. Go.
Hey guys, great.
But does he not know that is he going back to his original time?
I think so. I'd guess. I'd guess that's the case.
Hey, it's your world, buddy. We're just living in it.
I bet he's tuned in right now. He's waiting for Shane to call him.
Hey, how about his
in the
part
parking
job?
lot?
How about his
it was
part-
gold. And does he have a backup cam? That's pretty straight.
And he backed up under the tree too, like that little ball.
Well, I saw you pull into the parking lot this morning, and then you second guessed where you parked.
I didn't want to be that close to you.
Right. But even though you had a spot in between.
Yeah, it's the principle of the matter. I always park to the right of Shane.
He pulls in, then backs. If this is Verz on the phone calling from the parking lot, I'll lose my mind.
Like, is there anything more Verz like?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
No, I think it's probably a call that we have Blaze Pizza in Lincoln. What was that, Shane?
I was a listener. Just wanted to let Andrew know that there was a Blaze Pizza in Lincoln.
My man.
So
now I know. Look at him. Look at him walking in right now.
Dude, he's so mean-spirited. Look how fit he is. Little crab
Oh my
apple.
goodness, he's gonna kick my butt.
Shane, can we go to break early or?
Oh, hey, good morning.
Thanks for showing up and whatever.
Look at his T-shirt. I love it.
He's an idiot.
I love it. I'm a little new.
Hey, listen,
dude.
Hey, we gotta go. We gotta
your feet. 14 4E.
Wow.
Shane, am I good here?
Listen, the dude just walks in, grabs the headset, like, "Hey, Daddy's here."
Well, I know you got to go. You got Shaner calls me at 4:43, so you probably got like 4-ish minutes before you got to go to break.
So, and are you gonna do the 9:45 now?
Yeah, we're doing it
live. You are a wild dude.
Well, I kind of forgot I had another call before this. I was just going to come in right at 9:30.
You told me
Mike
wait
Sautter
for
cannot park.
Oh, that was bad. It was bad.
And then he didn't know I was mad at him.
Are you mad at him?
Well, he parked terribly.
Oh, that's why you were mad.
Yeah, because I was going to trap him in there where
he kind of had fishtailed. He was a little.
But he's on my line, so I was going to trap him in.
Don't let him blame the knee anymore either.
Hey, Shane, this is a bad angle. Let's get a double chin in that. I got.
I think he's leaning back.
I guess Matt Vrzal's next with his ridiculous shirt. Back after this on Coffee and Cream.
Rogers and Benning will be back in 4 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 3 minutes. Rogers and Benning will be back in 2 minutes. Rogers and Benning. We'll be back in 1 minute. Rogers and Benning will be back in 30 seconds. Coffee and Cream on Hail Varsity Radio with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning. Now let's find out what Matt Vrzal is better at. Telling stories or making pizza.
Matt.
Matt's an exceptional young man.
Matt Vrzal.
Happy birthday, Matt.
You know, Matt, he's a tremendous athlete.
Matt Vrzal.
Come on, Matt, I'm with you.
You know, like Matt Vrzal, you're one of the sexiest people in the world, but you're not one of the most beautiful. How did that happen?
Here is Matt Vrzal.
All right, Matt, thank you very much.
Matt Vrzal, like a child, sitting in the chair, messing with the camera.
Now you got a split shot of you
things
two.
around.
It's back on you now. No, you need to move that
It's a
camera.
little, it's a little dark here. Oh
You
yeah,
got your
here, I'll do
individual
this.
shots. Got you.
now you're in.
You got to watch it too, because he could have easily just lobbed. You just could have just
Lobbed something
easily
else?
lobbed the bird, man. It's like,
That is true. Those things just fly out of there sometimes like that.
hey, so can I get the Cliff Notes version of what this was all about this morning?
Just me. I'm out in the area running errands.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't forgotten about that other phone call I had to make, I just walked in at 8 or 9:30 and be like, let's do this. We got a half hour. Let's roll. But so I stopped in and say hi. I can't. Well, I mean, I tried to call you because I had a big meeting on Tuesday, but you just didn't call me back.
Was it that kind of meeting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, I don't want to be involved in those.
You don't have to be. I just needed to ask you a question.
Oh.
Like when you call me, I call you back. Say, hey, you good?
No, you show up at his house.
Well, true that, because I did think you were in trouble that day. But when you do,
You never know.
When I call you,
That's not true.
I'll get that later.
So how many like kind of you're a jerk or thanks for calling me back or I have a job, I'm working texts have you sent me when I've called you and you don't answer?
But do I call you back?
I mean, at some point it could be, it could take a day.
False.
It probably
you will
does.
get called back after lunch
or dinner.
When you call me at 11:30, I'm usually very busy at that time. But that in your brain does not register. Like he should just answer my phone call. So what I've told the customers at Paisans, if I have my headset on and Damon calls, we're all going to answer. We're all going to say hi to Damon.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably end up over there after the show.
That's great.
Not today, because you have to go to Chi-Town.
I do, going to his neck of the woods. It's actually closer to Napersville. Is it Naperville?
Yeah, suburb.
How far is that from?
We got
Yeah, AAU. Yeah.
Must be nice being rich.
No, you have no idea.
You get scholarships to that? They scholarship you on
the
the teams?
struggle is so real,
buddy.
I just was crying.
Watch how unreal this gets. Hey, we're gonna go to Chicago play basketball. We ain't going, dog. Catch you on the flip side.
Well, if I had somebody to send him with, I was going to, but my coach has already taken 2 kids.
But your trust level in people is low too.
It is.
Yeah,
it's really
very
low.
low.
He's 13. Like
somebody been like, I'll take him. Be like, no, no.
He's ahead of his time though. Like he's mature enough to do everything on time.
Yeah,
Micah.
Yeah,
he'd be fine.
Right, he's grown.
Yeah.
Hey, so, what are you doing with your summer schedule with like your workouts? Does it change, or is it
Like
about
for
because work is
individual ones
yeah,
or the
work is
team?
tougher, right?
No, we get kids back from college, so I got a little 2-month reprieve that I can't get real used to.
Oh, nice.
But I just load all my instruction. It's Saturday, Sunday morning.
Oh, so you've gotten off weekdays?
3 sets. Yeah, I don't have time. Weekdays ain't gonna work.
I know. Surprise isn't the word, but are you pleasantly happy that, like, your word of mouth? Because it's not like you advertise.
No,
but your word of mouth has done you a solid with training.
Well, so a lot of it's just up front. It's like, listen, if your personal coach feels uncomfortable with this, then we're done. If you want me to reach out to him, I'll say, hey,
because you did get burned once.
Did I?
Yeah, kind of. Remember? He's playing now. Big guy.
Down there?
Yeah.
No, they didn't get mad at that. The college coach got mad.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just a high school. But I'll just reach out if they want me to. And listen, I've seen your film. I kind of know what you're doing. I'm just going to hone his technique in on what you guys are doing. I'm not changing anything. I just want him to be more efficient in the stance. And then a lot of them are like, oh, so you can get us to a college. I'm like, nope. I can get you fundamentally sound, and I can get you in a position where you shut your brain off and you're not thinking about your feet. Then you just go try to whoop ass. That's all I'm doing. I ain't a recruiter. If you need me to make a call down the road, I have a few people I will call that I trust, but that ain't my gig. I'm trying to work on his mentals and his footwork and his hand placement, and that's it. Then once you lay that out, it's pretty easy. And they know I'm always going to be good for the kid and do the best I can for him. So,
well, it's up to the player to get to the next level. Like, you can give all the instruction, but it's up to them to put in the work on their own time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
To get to the next level.
They need – it's just that there's no framework for a parent to understand. And there's certain staffs that embrace it, like Huff, and you guys, you're out actively doing it. Some coaches hate it. They do not want to do it. So now you've got a parent that's somewhat lost.
We're trying to get you on our campus.
And we'll just put it. I know we've tried multiple times. We sent the coach and the money man and you, and everybody got the nah.
They're just looking for the pizza party at the
so
end.
Now we brought it down to, hey, do you just think you'll come talk to our guys?
Yeah, and then they still haven't set that up. But it's
above my pay grade.
Here's easy information for every parent of a freshman or sophomore kid right now, regardless of position. When they're young like this, take them to the big mega camp. Take them to the Lindenwood. Take them to that. Wear bright clothing. You're going to get lost in there. There's kids everywhere, but you're going to get a feel of it, and you're going to get a test score down. After your sophomore year, you should pick your 5 ideal Power 5s.
Or whatever you are.
Just pick them. Just pick the 5 Power 5s.
Okay.
Pick 5 D2s. And pick 5 of the next level. Pick 5 of each. Now you kind of narrowed your stance down. Then you have to have a reality discussion with your coach and say, hey, coach, where do you think I can go? Where do you think I fit? And you say, well, the way the system works now is Division II and even NAIA, you're looking at that kind of as a JUCO step.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go in there. If you can play right away, you got to look at their roster.
Mm-hmm.
So of those 5 teams in each division, you look at their roster. What's their roster balance? Do they need guards? Do they need tight ends? Do they need what do they need? Because now you're ensuring yourself maybe getting in there and playing earlier.
With having such a finite skill, because there aren't a lot of good O-line guys locally.
Right.
Do you find that people are a lot more receptive? Because everybody's got a speed and conditioning guy. Everybody's, I mean, it's you say, hey, listen, man, I want to get a good goal line guy, and it's like, you start looking around.
But I just want to get to the coaches. Like my ideal is if I can help coach the coaches. Not that I'm the end all be all, but I can help them understand maybe a little bit more of why you're doing a lot of the stuff and why things have evolved. And I've evolved. I still study it at least probably 4 to 5 hours a week.
And you went to the exclusive deal last year, which was invite only.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But it's just then sharing information. It's like, here, I have no problem. Take this and do what you will with it. But then when you get to that junior year, now you should take, if you realize, hey, I might be a low power 5, and those 5 lists of teams can change. You know, you can change those every minute. But it's like, okay, now I'm going to go to this camp with this team. Then we go to this camp with this team and this camp with this team. And I'm going to see if I like it. I'm going to see if I like their campus, if I like their coaches. So now that's when you're
like that.
So your junior year, now you're kind of in it where you're more specified. But early on in it, go to the big ones, go to the mega ones. And if you run fast and you jump high, you might catch somebody's eye. then you're building a relationship. The other part, kids will struggle with that, and I know they're super young. You got to sell yourself. If there's a coach a team,
that's the worst.
If there's a coach there from a team, you got to look him in the eye, walk up and say, Matt Vrzal, damn glad to meet you. I play at Grand Island Senior High School. I'm 6'1", I weigh 300 pounds. We run the wishbone. So if you need a run blocker, I'm your guy. Right? But you sell yourself, not coaching. You can be like, well, not a lot of kids are coming up and introducing themselves to me. So he must have a little something. Let's get his name. And now you're in their system because you have to actively do it. Parents don't know this. They don't know to get an NCAA number. They don't know to do all these things. So it's an education.
Unless they've been there, done that.
Correct. Unless you have an older brother. Yeah. But yeah, just helping out. The more kids from Nebraska go play somewhere else, the better for everybody. And then even if it is in state, don't get mad at me. Don't Twitter me that they all need to go to Nebraska.
You're not on that. You're not on that deal.
I want the kid to go where he fits the best and have success. And if it's Nebraska, it's Nebraska.
It just seems too hard for people to say. Because I'm the exact same way. I'm like, not everybody needs to be a Nebraska
But
guy.
see, we screwed that up though. We did. That's our fault. Because you look at those classes that came through.
Yeah.
Benning, Childs, Dishman, True, Ellis, and Hess. If you were good in the state of Nebraska at that time, you were going to Nebraska. But nobody wants to remember Steve Stanford
going to Colorado State.
Colorado State. He gone. Yeah. And he was a dude.
Yeah.
But we want it to be that way because we want it to be our homegrown talent. Not everybody's going to go there. Even when we were there, there's a big old dude out of Central. He went somewhere else. Can't remember his name. But Big Mug.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple of years before us with Evan Simpson and
there you go.
Yeah, I think he went to Kansas maybe.
If we get everybody in, it's great. But if you don't, like it's a numbers game now, and they can't.
I just remember a lot of guys being on other people's roster pre the 90s, and I think we're just misremembering. Wyoming had a lot of good guys from the state of Nebraska, right? It's like, I mean, guys have been going to other schools for a long time.
Yep. But it's glaring now because we're not good.
Now, versus
we're going to be good.
Yeah.
But we weren't good. So now it's like, well, we're letting all of our in-state guys go, and we're still not very good. Why don't we just take them?
Gosh, 38 seconds. This is going to warrant a longer answer.
Cliffs?
Yeah. Okay. So
for
those that haven't been there, done that.
He can't.
He can't.
He can't
play the X music real low.
He can't.
Quickly here, for those that haven't been there, done that, whether it's with a brother or whether it's the parents themselves, and they only think it's D1 or nothing.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Yeah, but how do you instill that into a person?
You tell them you need to get your kid where he can play soon if he's a tweener. Where can
is that
he play
up to the
right
coach?
away?
Is that up to a recruiter? Is that up to the parent?
Examine their roster and talk to their coaches. But here's what I want to do.
So you're going to say it's up to the player?
Yep. Right now it is. Because you don't want handlers. The fewer handlers
I remember,
you got involved in that.
I remember going through baseball scholarships. No. Parents hadn't been there, done that. Brothers always never knew JUCO was a real thing.
First at bat, Max Butenbach in the Hutch Baseball League. Bomb.
Let's go.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Very appreciate you, man.
See you, boys.
We'll be back next week with Coffee and Cream.